I've only seen Top Gun 2.
Yeah, Top Gun 1 was great.
I feel
good.
like
Top
it's
Gun
just
2
to
was
like look
top-notch.
at hot dudes, right? It's Top Gun. Like,
That is not personally why I watched
It's military
it.
Magic Mike, right?
I've never heard it described that way, but
You heard it here first.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's... Well, all right, man. Well, welcome to... I've got Brandon Friebe in the studio with us today, and we're recording today on, is it Wednesday, July 30th, right? It's raining and cooling down, and I almost made a post to Facebook last night that was like, hey, when it cools down, can we all just agree to like treat people with like respect and rationality again? Because dude, all y'all been cranky and just sweaty. And even so, last night I was going through the DQ drive-thru in Columbia, which I know, Dairy Queen, whatever, is the one on Forum is good, but I'm getting really annoyed. And I went to England recently, so now I'm super distinguished and enlightened and smarter than you because I went over there. But I pull in the drive-thru, and you know how like they'll start with like a robot that's like, would you like to do this, and this?
Yeah.
Dude, it's a robot, but you wouldn't know it. And it's this woman who's like, would you like to donate $1 to children's charity today? So I assume, which first of all, I'm like, why are you harassing me for donations? Like, at least ask me to round up, not start the thing by going, you want to give $1? And I'm like, what if I was just coming through for water? I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I just go, no. And then a different voice pops on to take my order. I'm like, you guys couldn't have pre-recorded anything better than, would you like to donate $1 to children's charity today? Just all sassy. So even the robots are sick of the heat. But
we ran into somebody who was actually in a really good mood. It was Monday night. So we're over in Columbia doing some shopping and getting some errands.
Can I guess
done.
where you go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tacos for Life.
We did not go there. No.
Okay.
So we actually went to Panda Express that night.
Dude,
so,
yes.
Yeah. But so anytime, and don't be mad at us because every once in a while we do still go to Andy's.
Oh, you gotta balance it out.
Yeah. So we went to Andy's the other day, and so we're in the drive-thru, and the car in front of us, the gas cap is open, and the little thing, the twisty cap, is like hanging down on the lady's car. So of course, like always, Andy's has got a mile-long line, and so I get out of the car and I walk up and I like gently walk up because I didn't want to freak the lady out, and I knock on the side of her car. I'm like, ma'am, do you want me to close your gas cap? And so she's like, oh, I was just in such a hurry to come get my ice cream. And I'm like, I get it. Like, I completely get it. And so I shut her gas cap, and so I get back in the car, and I'm just going to get my ice cream going. And I go up to pay. Now, granted, like I have my wife, myself, and my son, who he's expensive. And so we order, and I'm thinking
it's at least $30. Right?
It's going to be, I don't know what it was, to be quite honest, but the lady paid for my ice cream just for closing her gas cap.
Hey.
So I'm like, there are kind people still left in the world, you know.
Or
it was pretty
like
cool.
Now you're like, wait, well, I can make this a business. Somebody sneak up and undo the Kaleb, go undo the gas cap.
I told Steph, I'm like, I promise you, she didn't know what our bill was before she offered to do that.
Joke.
So she's like, can I retract my generosity?
I have paid for the person behind me before, but I'll admit, I'll be like, what we got going on back there?
Right. Scope it out of the rear view.
It's
How many
just
people are in the
one McFlurry, right? it's not 3 Big Macs. I do not have the guts to order a Big Mac. I don't know if that's how you were raised with McDonald's, but we were raised on no drinks, no fries, and we got cheese at home. So we're getting a 79-cent hamburger for me. Was that how you were raised too? This podcast is brought to you by nobody. That's right. Nobody paid for this spot, but this could be your business ad, personally attested to by me with a personalized recommendation. Obviously, I have to like, your product, but I will personally attest to this ad slot. And if you're trying to reach the ears of Fayette, this is the place to do it. So if you want to advertise here, please email us at landonballstudios@gmail.com. That's LandonBallstudios@gmail.com.
To some extent, we honestly didn't eat out a whole lot.
Yeah.
So when it was like it was like a special occasion anytime we got to go eat out anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And so
including McDonald's.
So
it was like
we could go in and like we would order a meal and split it.
Okay. Yep.
And we thought it was the greatest thing ever, even though we had to like split the meal sometimes. And
Yeah.
then we would get older, and I think I ordered Happy Meals until I was like 12.
Yeah.
And then
Still wish.
my
I still
parents
think
were
we
like,
should.
"You can get something else besides a Happy Meal." And I'm like, "There's something else besides a Happy Meal on the menu, you know?" So that was a big day in my life when I came to the realization that there was more to the McDonald's menu than just a Happy Meal.
I think big day in my life. Although now that the economy is dumb, I'm on my mom's side of now. Like I'm not ordering fries.
Yeah.
But I think where I knew I made it was when I started using numbers to order off the menu. I've never done a combo. You know, we're on the value menu.
Yeah.
So I want a McChicken and a burger, and you put them together, and you call them a McChurger. Or as some heathens call it, was it a McGangbang? Is that right? Do they call it that too? Or the McDickin is the other one. There's like a bunch of different terms for
I'm
it.
learning a lot right now.
This is not a very wee thing.
Well, no. I mean, it just depends on how whole you are, what you call that. I think I call it a McChurger. But yeah, I mean, you save the calories from the bun and you stack them together, and it's a good combo.
Yeah.
It's a good combo.
Yeah, we still do the water thing everywhere we go. Like you don't go and spend $3 on a drink anywhere or more.
I don't want to drink my calories either. I don't know where you're at on that.
Yeah, we're the same. And I probably haven't had a soda in, I'm guessing, 4 years.
Good for you.
And so I took a drink of one from my wife was drinking a Coke the other day. Yeah. And I took one drink and I said, I could not do this. Like, it's just too sweet. I can't do the sugar stuff anymore. So
you're just boycotting that during the Biden administration.
I don't know that had anything to do with it, but but we can call it that if you want to, for sure.
Oh man, I'm trying to think if I did anything weird just because of the Biden administration.
They're changing the Coca recipe apparently. Yeah.
Well, I love how so one thing I've noticed for parents out there, I don't know if you noticed this, but we're getting really big on these dye bans and things like that, which I'm all for. Except for I've seen some companies, they're like, we're committed to not having dyes in our thing by 2027. And I'm like, that's a long ways away. And then I realized, I think Hershey's was one of them. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you have product that's made to last till then. Yeah. So I was like,
that's true, man. I didn't think about that.
But the diapers things I've noticed is the bans are coming, and they changed the, I don't have a better word for it, the recipe on these diapers where all of a sudden Ellie's nighttime diapers have blue dye all over it. Hasn't created any rash or anything, but I'm like, these people are dumping these dyes and I'm like, what the heck? Just, you can't be, I know Huggies ain't penny pinching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're probably not fighting for.
No, they're doing pretty all right. But I've never heard of the Huggies CEO yet. Maybe this podcast, maybe he'll end up at a Coldplay concert.
Who knows? He could be your next guest. You never know.
Have you been following that Coldplay concert, stupid stuff, anything like that?
I haven't been following the actual saga a lot, but I catch a lot of the things that get put out on social media, I may hunt too much, but at least I don't go to Coldplay concerts, that kind of stuff. I sent that to my wife a couple of days ago. I may hunt too much, but at least I don't go to Coldplay concerts.
Yeah, that's right. So, or cheat on you, right? But the Coldplay concert is way worse
now. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I was talking through. I'm starting to either believe. I don't know how you can be a CEO and not have more rational thought, but I know money can make people weird. But I just don't if I was at a game with anybody, if I was sitting in a seat near a woman and the kiss cam starts going or the couple cam, I'm ducking. It'd be like if you're with your sister, you're not just gonna be like, we're definitely not hugging, but we're definitely going to do this. Yeah. We are. And so I'm just
Have you seen the one where they were at a baseball game? I think it was a Dodgers game, and they did the same thing. And the dude holds up a sign that says, "She's my sister."
Dude, yes, I have seen that.
This guy came
he
prepared.
was prepared.
Right,
yeah. Because I'm sure that kind of stuff happens. And then, which I think kiss cams are hilarious. And you know what? I mean, you got caught, so can't anyway. Don't cheat on your wife.
Itself out eventually, right?
Yeah, I tried to. I'll send you the picture so you can edit this in. I gotta show you this. I was really bored the other morning, and I was like, dude, I tried to recreate with ChatGPT me hugging Henry, and I'll send these to you guys so you can put this on the episode. Me hugging Henry, and I was gonna post something that said, "Hugging your dog is much cheaper than cheating on your wife." But I got to find it. Hold on.
That's awesome.
Stay with me, folks. This is for all you listeners, this is great listening content. So
if you go to our text messages, you find them there too.
Yeah. So there's the first one. Okay. So then I was like, make Henry look more shocked.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You don't even look like that. Doesn't even look like
it doesn't look like me at all. And I'm starting to look like Arabic. All right. This one's wild. And then I'm like, hey, center me more behind him and look like we both got caught cheating is what I asked ChatGPT to do. Dude, I look like the Prince of Saudi Arabia got braces.
Dude, you look like, who do you look?
I look like
somebody that I know.
I look like Nate Bargatze, a Saudi Arabian Nate Bargatze, because I don't smile with my eyes open, so I got big eyes out there, and my teeth are perfect. Which I was like, that's rude of you, ChatGPT. You know?
Oh my gosh!
Like, you ask, or Snapchat like does that pretty filter. I don't have Snapchat.
AI is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous,
but entertaining nonetheless.
It's entertaining. It was funny. I asked AI to come up with like a slur to use against people that use ChatGPT too much, and bot liquor was one of them. So if you use ChatGPT too much, I'll be like, all right, bot liquor. Yeah, and the other one is prompt slug. That's another one. You prompt slug. So
that's very offensive.
Very. And then I had we're not talking about you at all. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's the Landon Ball podcast, but I
was going to say it's your world, man.
I asked ChatGPT while we were in London to name itself.
Yeah.
I was like, "What's your name?" And they're like, "It was like, I don't really have a name." And I was like, "No, you can name yourself. Like, what's your name?" It's like, and he or she it was like, "Fine. My name's Lex," and my wife's like, is that a girl or a boy? Like, you better identify. Are you Lex, short for Lexi, or like Lex Luthor? And he's like, I'm a dude. He's like, I'm a dude. So I think where people don't realize too, like if I'm running ChatGPT and now I have a name, like my ChatGPT knows me now, knows like what which is wild, by the way. Like I don't put anything in there. I don't have a lot of shame in general, but I don't put anything in there that I would be scared of coming out. But the conglomeration, we can get back to you on this. The conglomeration would just be wild of like what I have searched questions, be like, what is going on in this? Like just a reflection of my brain. But that's also how I feel like about my Spotify playlist as well. Like people think that I am a musical person, but you would think to find like depth and creativity in no.
Pretty simple.
Dude, it's like VeggieTales. Yeah, it's horrible. I've just played my liked songs at the gym and people are like, what on earth?
He's throwing iron listening to Where's My Hairbrush?
I would.
Dude, he's listening to Sabrina. We're at the gym. Like,
dude, Sabrina Carpenter has some bops. All right.
I don't know that I've ever heard a single one of her songs.
Espresso. You've heard Espresso.
I probably have. I just didn't know it.
And now he's thinking about me. Baby, I know that one.
Maybe.
Is that me?
Doesn't ring a bell at the moment.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Full of language. Like you just have to listen and like bleep out and don't watch. It's brutal. Like some of these pop artists. I remember Ariana Grande used to be one of my favorites, and then one of her albums was just disgusting. And I was like, dang it, you have a really good voice, really good music, and then you got gross. So, but it's obviously, as you know, mostly Shane and Shane.
Oh yeah.
So we can go from Where's My Hairbrush to Though You Slay Me.
You change speeds real fast, right?
And you go from just like pumping to weeping. Yeah. But are you the kind of person do you have Spotify or are you an Apple guy?
I'm Spotify.
Okay, all right. That's normal, right? All these people that are paying $1 for their song. Or did that change? Is it a subscription now for Apple?
Yeah. So my son Kaleb is actually an Apple person, but it's a very similar service. But so.
Well, when did you start picking up music? When did you learn guitar?
Yeah, so
or what was your first instrument?
Yeah, guitar. Well, I say that. So piano was probably my first instrument.
Yeah, that's the gateway.
I took piano lessons for like 12 years.
Wow. Wow.
I heard one of your podcasts that you were talking about how you didn't read music very well, right? So that's the same for me. So
you went 12 years not reading music.
Yeah, I mean, my piano teacher hated it because I would, and I had two of them, and both of them got to the point where they realized the reason why I was asking them to play it was so that I could hear it, so that I could just go back.
Took me 12 years to figure that out.
Yeah. So
mine figured it out in year 2. Just like get out of here.
And so I didn't read music well, still don't, but I just kind of laid it down. I don't have a lot of regrets in life, but probably not playing piano much anymore these days is probably one of those because. Such a awesome instrument that I just wish I could still play at a high level.
Well, you're not like dying soon, right?
No, not that I'm
Dude,
aware of.
You can pick it up. It's not too late to pick it up.
Yeah, the time is the issue.
You're talking
right?
like you're 80 years old.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like it.
These fingers, they don't move. Can't do it.
Right. Yeah. So no, my mom played the piano. So having a piano player in the house, or still does, because she's alive as well.
No.
She still plays the piano, and so I never had to, because she always did. And so that was. But I picked up the guitar. I think I got my first guitar when I was like 11, maybe 11 or 12.
Do you remember?
A Fender. It was entry level Fender.
Yes.
And no pickups, no nothing, just basic. Picked up the guitar, and so I picked up the guitar, and in the way that my brain worked, I thought I'm gonna do special music on Sunday.
Yes.
So I got my guitar.
Because where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Licking, Missouri. So
that's south, right?
Yeah, that's like
you're
South
in the
Central
Bible
Missouri.
Belt.
Yeah,
you're in the Bible Belt. We had special music at a Baptist church.
Absolutely.
I assume.
So my grandpa,
Nailed it.
my grandpa was a Southern Baptist preacher for 50 plus years. And so we grew up in the church, usually churches that he was a part of, or that he had something, some role in.
In multiple different churches?
Yeah. So when I was super young, they lived in Arkansas, and then we had moved to Missouri. And so when I had gotten a little older, right before I became a teenager, and then in my teenage years, they moved to the same area. And he was on staff, did a lot of, interim work and stuff like that for churches who were looking for pastors. And so that was back in the day where you had church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. And we were there all the time. Yeah. And then usually another day in there somewhere. And
Just in the 80s, 90s, right?
So I was born in 1980.
That's what I
thought.
Yeah.
And so kind of a late 80s, 90s kind of thing, So, but yeah, I got my first guitar at 11. I think I played Amazing Grace at church that following Sunday.
Play it or sing it too?
Both.
You've
it was a train wreck. Dude, It was a train wreck,
Hey.
but it was, the old people thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
So I probably started really getting serious about guitar probably 12 or 13.
Okay.
Started writing songs when I was 14, maybe. I think I wrote my first song when I was 14.
What was that?
So I don't even remember what it was.
You don't?
No. So the songs that I remember the most that I are probably in a dusty file somewhere that I hope nobody ever finds. I wrote probably dozens of songs in college, late high school years in college, and some of them I can still tolerate. Other ones, like my mom's like, "You remember that one song?" I'm like, "Nope, sure don't. I don't know where it's at. Don't remember the lyrics." And I'm like, "It's in that file over there," So
and I know every word. I hate it.
Yeah, it haunts me in my sleep. So guitar's always been my main instrument. I can play everything with strings a little bit, play the mandolin a little bit, fiddled around, no pun intended. I tried to learn how to play the violin, fiddle kind of thing. Yeah. That's tough, a little tougher for me, but I have a banjo.
So much like shoulder and neck string.
Yeah.
That's not me.
Yeah, and it's hard for guys who want to see what they're doing too sometimes, because you kind of like looking over there where you're trying to. But I haven't done a lot with that one. But banjo, mandolin, guitar, bass, those types of things.
You can play the banjo?
Enough to get me in trouble. Yeah.
Enough to be dangerous.
They make a banjo now that's tuned like a guitar, which makes it
sweet.
Yeah, so it's like super easy.
You
play the guitar with a banjo, and it just sounds like a banjo.
Yeah.
But,
I need to get that.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe this was like a dream that I had, but didn't you have a band and Wes drummed in it? Mm-hmm. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so my brother Wes, so fun fact.
Is he older or younger?
He's
Sorry,
younger.
Wes.
No,
I thought you were younger.
Yeah, he's young. So I'm the oldest of three. So Wes, obviously, he lives here in the area with us. And then my younger brother lives in southwest Missouri, kind of around that Springfield region. But so Wes, when we were in college.
Where at?
Southwest Baptist University.
Oh, yeah.
So we were both in school there, and they decided they were going to have a talent show. And we decided one of our roommates is to this day still one of the best guitar players. His name was Matt Richards. Or is Matt Richards. Mm-hmm. And he owns a recording studio in Kansas City now. Just one of the most gifted, talented guys I've ever met in my life. So we were all on the same hall in college, and we're like, we should start a band. So, I'm sitting in my dorm room writing songs on acoustic guitar, and, Matt's shredding Metallica riffs all the time. But we're like.
And could Wes drum before that point?
No.
All right. So we're like, dude, we need a drummer.
So we decided we were going to play in the talent show, needed a drummer. So in typical terrible life decision fashion, we went to a music store in Springfield, bought a drum set, Wes learned how to play one song for the talent show, and a week later made his debut performance as a drummer. And then he was our drummer from there on out. So
Yeah.
he had an innate ability to be able to try to figure it out and make his body kind of do
Right.
what he wanted to do. And he ended up being a pretty decent drummer by the time it was all said and done, you know.
Yeah.
So he doesn't
Did
play.
he have music experience before that?
No,
Wow.
no. So, but yeah, we were in a band and he was our drummer for a while. And then
What was the band's name?
Awestruck, I think, was maybe the
Awestruck?
first band's
Dude.
name.
Yeah.
And I think
Christian.
yeah, that was back when like Creed was real big,
Sure,
and
yeah.
you know Nickelback was popular before everybody called you names for being a Nickelback fan and those types of things.
Nickelback writes bangers, all right?
Dude,
I don't care. I'll
I've
go
always
on
been,
record saying that.
unpopular
Bangers.
opinion, but I think Nickelback was always good.
And I will say I appreciate the nostalgia of Creed.
Yeah.
And just like the emotion of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get canceled for this. The music is not good.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not good.
A lot of
At
the
least the
music-
recording quality isn't
Yeah.
good. But I remember I was so sheltered. I don't think I even heard of Creed until it came up on these like memes that have showed up lately, you know. And so I think there's a group chat. There's probably receipts where I text Logan and Lane and I'm like, Creed sucks. It's like, this is
man,
terrible.
they were popular back then though. We would go play. Didn't matter the venue. We'd go play a venue and we would be playing a cover song here or there or whatever. Everybody wanted to hear a Creed song, so we had to learn them. Like we had to learn how to cover those songs. And
I don't know if and Creed definitely leaned more faith based than Nickelback, right?
Yeah.
Nickelback's like drugs, but also like some occasional like that. I'll never forget that music video they made where like there's a timer on everybody's head. What song is that?
I don't remember. I know the video that you're talking about.
If it's worth saving me.
Yeah,
I think it's that one.
Yeah.
Help me, I'm falling. That one. Okay.
Everyone should know now.
You got auto tune on that? We can do some auto tune in post. You know,
I'm not a music.
I'm
guy.
not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of it.
Yeah, that though one of the biggest covers that we always got asked to do was back. Remember Amy Lee from the band Evanescence, and then she did a duet with the lead singer from the band Seether, and they did a song called "Hero" for the Spider-Man soundtrack. Well, I think it was a Spider-Man soundtrack.
Definitely, still not allowed to watch that.
Yeah. So we got asked to cover that all the time. So
see, that's when I need to have like speakers in here. Somebody like Cody play that for me so I can hear that.
We can do that. We still like soundboards. I could do the intro.
We'll do that at some point because I'm sure I've heard it, but like most of my grunge music experience comes from 92.1 Wally. Do you remember that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like, and it was like the alternative to Kayleigh, you know, because Kayleigh is every day doing their seasonal donation request. Yeah. Like, we're coming up to our spring. I was like, dude, it's December. We're not doing a spring promo.
And don't get me wrong, they do good things, but it's hard for me to.
I've always had a bad taste for Christian radio, only because one time I looked into like when I was in Minnesota, their version of Kaleb, I think it's called KTIS. I'm sure they have a Kaleb station too, but I remember them sending. This is when I started to become enlightened or aware of just like marketing tactics, and for some reason it just made me uncomfy as it integrated with faith, where they were like, so here's our target market with our music, not just our ads but our music. And I was just like, and it was like 25 to 52-year-old moms. And I was just like, oh, because as a worship kid, I was always like, man, why don't we play the worship stuff that makes me like melt my face? But obviously that's not their objective, and they've reached a lot of people there too. But that was when I started to get enlightened to like, oh, but also like that's where I heard Toby Mac.
Yeah.
Which was a huge part of my childhood. Toby Mac, Mandisa, rest in peace.
Yeah, we learned a lot about the ugly side that a lot of people don't see of the music business. The band, Wes was not in the band at this particular point in time, but the band guys that we were with, we did a trip to Estes Park. They have a big deal there that they do every year. I don't know if they still
Colorado?
do. Yeah. So it's called GMA and the Rockies, and so it's basically the Gospel Music Association does this big thing.
That's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
You guys played out there?
We played in there.
No way.
And so, so at that point in time, we were scheduling out a whole year. Like our target was like 120, 130 dates or something like that, and we were on our way to kind of. I don't know what
making
our
like
number
$100
was at that.
$100 a gig.
Get free pizza. But
we'll play for free.
But we went up there, and I think that it was that event where we just kind of caught glimpses of, even in the Christian music industry, it was just something that none of us were really interested in messing with. And
Yeah.
you know, at the time it was sexy to want to be in a band. You
Yeah.
know, it was
Oh, yeah.
everybody wanted to do it, and you know, I don't know if we were talented enough to have accomplished that task, but we all quickly realized, just in regards to like the feedback we were getting, and then they would have whole sessions and seminars about this is what you have to do in your orchestration and in your stage presence and all of these things to
Yeah.
captivate audiences. I think it was at that point in time where I kind of came to the realization, like, I'm not really anxious to be a rock star. Like, I want to write songs that please the Lord,
Yeah.
you know. And so that's
How
when it
old are
kind of
you
all
at this
shifted.
point?
Let's see. So we had actually just found out that we were pregnant with Kaleb, and so it would have been 2006,
Yeah,
probably 2000.
okay.
So he was born in 2007. So it was probably late 2006 when we were
And
up
are you
there.
in Fayette at this point?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
So
right.
we had moved to Fayette the first time in 2004. So
Yeah.
we had, yeah. And so Matt was still in the band at the time. Our bass player was a guy by the name of Lance Kaufman, and then a mutual friend of ours, Michael Miner, was actually our drummer at the
Yeah.
time. So
I
yeah.
miss him, man.
Yeah, I
That's
saw him this past weekend.
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
yeah.
No, Michael Miner was a problem for me as a kid because, like, we'd be having just worship on a Sunday, and I'm just like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
just staring at him. And I remember he was really who helped me get into drumming, and was they did not have to put me on stage at 10, 11, 12 drumming with Kathy and
Yeah.
them, but I think he was definitely the one who kind of pushed me to do, and Kathy too. But he gave me some VHSs that I still have, or no, maybe they're DVDs. I think they're DVDs. It's not that antique, but of just like some influence that he had
Yeah.
from some drummers, and so
Yeah, he's a gifted drummer.
So he was
man.
drumming for you at the time?
Yeah, he was our
Nasty.
full-time drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could he do the rock thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See, so
I mean, I know he's capable of anything, but I know his style probably isn't,
yeah. So
metal.
he certainly didn't think music
Yeah.
in a rock way, but he's such a gifted and talented drummer that he could listen to something and be like, "That's not what we're after,"
Dude,
and then
yeah.
immediately change it in the moment.
Yeah.
And
You
yeah.
could play like Scottish music, and he'd be
yeah.
like, "Yep, got
Yeah,
it."
I got something for that. You know, he's a gift. He's one of the most gifted drummers I've ever played with. So
Yeah, I miss him. I don't think I've seen
he's such
him
a good. That's what
so
makes him
many
awesome
years.
too. He's just such a good guy.
Yeah.
And just loves the Lord, loves his
Yeah.
family, just salt to the earth, dude.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that's, mid-ish 2000s, which I remember a little bit of that influence because we moved here in 2007.
Mhm.
And I think it was probably like that first kit you guys bought was maybe at Faith Family for the youth group.
Probably may still be
And
there. I
that
don't
was
know.
when I think you were youth pastoring then.
Yeah, so
And-
I was doing ultra part-time youth pastoring then.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
That's how churches do it, be like, dude,
yeah,
it's part-time, $50 a
yeah,
month.
yeah. We'll give you
A month.
$200 every
And a stipend for a coffee at Casey's.
Yeah.
And but dude, lead this whole
No,
ministry.
I loved it though. Like, yeah. I would have done it for free.
But I came in with like you had clearly influenced, or somebody did influence, the Andrew Page, Derek Volkman, even I think Ben Gladden was playing at that point.
He was
and
he was a great musician.
Yeah. And so it was like rock, and that's kind of what kind of got me into like this is what everybody does in here.
Yeah.
And all the Connotes were with us at the time too, and those were some heydays.
Dude, we had an incredible youth band back then.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah, well, even just a youth ministry for a long time. I remember when I moved here, in our Rock Quest anyway, Lisa Gebhardt's running it, and I remember like maybe 4 or 5 of us. Like Kayleigh, Jesse, Kelly, maybe Beth. Not a lot more that I can recall. And then I invite Thomas, and then Thomas like invites the whole middle school. And I think we finished that year with like 80 or 90 kids in that middle school. And then by the time I think we graduated with like 3 or 4 in our class, which was sad. But I do remember I remember so much band drama.
Sure.
Because Alex Canote was a salty little drummer too, and was just a cooler dude than me. He just was. Like, he was nice and he was chill, and I was all like, this isn't right. But yeah, those were big days growing up. But yeah, back to Christian radio. I mean, it's got its place for sure, but it almost feels like in anything, especially in the higher up you get in anything, including even something like this, there is a line where quality doesn't matter; it's control that matters.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a hard part to, like, most of my favorite musicians are not on big labels, and they'll actually go to their own label and just get super suppressed. but at the same time, it's like the best music. So I don't know. I hope that industry can change
Yeah,
in
I
some way.
mean, and honestly, it all started changing when live streaming became a thing, right? So nobody
Live streaming, like
the whole streaming industry. So Spotify was, even back in the day of like, I don't know if you remember Napster.
Sure do.
Like all the things that were illegal.
Dude, I downloaded so many viruses for that.
But now, it used to be that you would make your money by the number of albums that you would sell at Walmart, know, and so nobody, I won't say nobody, not everyone is buying that anymore. And so now
I actually think that should be the line between millennial and Gen Z is, do you remember buying CDs in Walmart?
Do you own a CD, right? And so I think that's when the whole industry probably began to shift even more so than what it was. And so then it became about, how many tickets can you sell at your shows? But I'm like you, like my favorite artists, my favorite people that I listen to regularly, have probably never seen the time on radio. Like, and some of the best musicians that people don't know, are the ones that I listen to all the time. And my son at 18 years old is the one who introduces me to a lot of those. Like, Dad, have you heard this artist? And I'm like, I'm not sure.
Tell me some of them. Because he might have learned them from us too.
Yeah. So, what is the one? Dylan Gossett is the one that he's been showing me right now. He's super cool. What are some of the other ones that I'm listening to?
Morgan Wallen.
What is that guy's name? No, not Morgan. I'll listen to Morgan Wallen, but he's not one of my favorite ones. But I mean, there's guys that Tyler Braden is one that I listen to a lot. He's becoming a little bit more marketed and that kind of stuff, but that's kind of my speed. That's kind of where I usually land on the Spotify stuff. I listen to a lot of worship music, a lot of stuff that honestly stuff that I wasn't ultra aware of that maybe you brought into my world. The stuff that I think I'm probably
responsible for the City of Light influence.
Yeah, for sure. Like I hadn't heard of City of Light at all, and I like a lot of their
Thomas
stuff
too.
Yeah, so. And some of the other ones that I listen to on the worship side are just from my experiences as well as a musician and the opportunities I've had to go to songwriting retreats and do some of these other things, and the song "I Speak Jesus." There's several artists that were involved with the writing of that song that I had the opportunity to be at a songwriting workshop with in Montana.
That song is a banger.
And
my new church doesn't know it.
Yeah.
And I'm crushed by it because I'm leading worship for the second time this week, and I'm trying not to do 5 new songs as I go in.
One of the co-writers on that song, her name was Abby, and I met her when I was in Montana at a songwriters retreat.
That wasn't that long ago then, right?
No,
it was not an old song.
No. So the song came out after the songwriters retreat. It came out a few years after I was there, but I heard her. I had the opportunity to be in a writing group with her at that retreat, and I immediately knew, like, if this is what this girl wants to do, she's gonna figure it out. So she was truly, really, really gifted and anointed as a songwriter. Just what she could do with the lyric, and super talented young lady. So, but so that's I listen to a lot of obscure stuff. There's a guy, his last name is Schuster. I think it's Matt Schuster. Maybe he's a country artist, and his voice is super unique. Love that kind of stuff. Yeah. But anyway, music's a big deal. It always has been for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've got this band called, what was it?
So the first one we ever had was Awestruck. And then we were in another one that was called Driven. We had a song that we wrote called Let Faith Drive Me. And so it was kind of rooted off that whole thing. So our band's name was Driven. And then we realized that there was another band already named Driven, and that band kind of went their separate ways. And then I was in another band called South of Town for a while. And
that's
then,
unique. Try to copyright that.
Yeah, it was. So every once in a while, I'll be cleaning out my filing cabinet at the house, and I'll come across old pictures or old CDs that we would have sent off to be copyrighted and stuff like that. So.
Any of the stuff on Spotify?
No, none of that stuff is. So one of the churches that I was on staff at, 2012 to 2015 or so, that church, I was part of a writing group that put together a worship project for that. That one is on Spotify, but I don't have any of my original stuff on Spotify. I don't know if it was because I was just never brave enough to do it.
You still could.
Oh yeah. And I'm still writing, still playing music, obviously. And I'm writing some pretty personal music right now, stuff that's specific to the season of life that we're in that, a lot of people don't really know about, that I think, Josiah Key, our mutual friend and buddy, He and I
Never heard of him.
Yeah. He's an enigma. He was at our house last night, and
Cool.
He came over for dinner. I haven't seen him all summer.
I haven't seen him in 6 months.
Yeah, sorry, I just got you in trouble,
the
my
dude made time to see my dog and not me.
He's been traveling a little bit, so and but
I love you, Josiah.
Yeah, Josiah has been a great mentor to our son, and our son's getting ready off to college. So
Has Kaleb figured out the drum thing yet? Because I know he was interested.
Yeah,
in it.
he was interested in it, but to be honest, he just hasn't had.
He
hasn't made the time. He hasn't made the time to do it. He's capable.
Not doing anything else. So.
Yeah. He's not. He's capable of doing it, and maybe he will someday. But right now, he's living his dreams. So yeah.
Well, so walk me through some of those years, because I feel like I'm pretty sure we were like ships in the night for multiple kind of different patches. Because we moved to Fayette 2007, 2008, and I remember playing like middle school basketball, and you were coaching. And I've always been, all of my friends have always been older than me, and I've always been looking to the next. Like, I knew who my middle school coaches were, but I was like, I got to impress this guy because he's going to be the high school coach. But you left when?
Yeah, so we left Fayette 2008.
Yeah, so like as we came in.
Yeah, so I told people that nobody would ever accuse me of being a talent chaser, because when we left, we had a lot of talent coming in those younger grades. Yep. And but I had dreams back then of coaching in the Central Ozarks Conference, which is like Branson, Ozark, Nixa, Willard, those schools.
Good basketball.
Yeah. And
did you go to Licking all the way through?
So when I was growing up, so I graduated. We moved to Licking when I was in first grade, and then I graduated high school from there. Yeah. My parents lived there for another 10, 12 years after I left. So after I graduated high school, but so I graduated from there. We didn't have football growing up, so basketball was always the thing, and we had a really good baseball team as well. I was just always better at basketball, and I loved it from an early age. So, but I always wanted to be a coach. Like I had the opportunity I had a couple of very small schools that said, yeah, we can get you on our basketball team. I actually didn't even play all of my senior year, and that's a stupid story. I did all that stuff because of a girl at the time, but poor life choices.
Not Steph, right?
No, not Steph. I didn't meet
her. It worked out.
I didn't meet Steph until I was a senior in college.
Right.
So
and she played soccer.
She played soccer at SBU for a year, and then
anyway,
she got hurt.
No,
you're good. You're good. So we left Fayette in 2008, and I went to a school at the time that was in the Central Ozarks Conference
called
Marshfield, Missouri.
Okay.
So I got on that staff as an assistant with the mindset of I turned down 2 other head coaching jobs because I wanted to be in the COC. I wanted to make a name for myself. That way I could be a COC coach. And
was COC the pinnacle for you?
It was.
Or was
for
it
me,
like the next stepping stone?
I think it was for me. That was home for me. Southwest Missouri was always home for me. That area, Southern Missouri.
Yep.
And so I had just kind of in my mind orchestrated this whole thing that I was going to get a coaching job in the COC, and that's where we were going to raise a family, and that's where I was going to coach for 25 years, retire right off in the sunset. And obviously that didn't happen, but yeah, so we moved to Marshfield area. I taught and coached in Marshfield from 2008 to 2012, and then that's when I got out of teaching and coaching altogether. It was in 2012 for that season. So. Yep.
And so 2012, that's not when you moved back, though.
No, we moved back to Fayette in 2015.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So in that 2012, 2015, you were pastoring, right?
Yeah. So I got out of coaching and teaching, and I went into full-time pastoral ministry. So I was a student pastor for a season. Some of my most memorable years in full-time vocational ministry were as a worship pastor. And so it was at the same church in Republic, Missouri. At the time, we were one of the fastest growing churches in the state, and a really formative time in my life as an adult, just in regards to the formation of my faith. Yeah. Growing up in the church, I was saved at an early age, but in my early adult years, just didn't make it a priority in my life. And so it was at that point where God really kind of got a hold of me, and that season of life was super formative for me in my faith, and just kind of how my relationship with Jesus just became more personal for me. But so I was on pastoral staff there from 2012 to 2015, and then had the opportunity. I don't know how deep you wanted me to get in the story, but went to a pastor's conference in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And, here we are living in Springfield, third largest city in the state of Missouri. And and we went to a conference, and a guy by the name of Shannon Odell, who at the time was a pastor, I think still maybe in Arkansas, and one of the biggest kind of up and coming. Everybody just assumed he was going to be a mega church pastor in the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Ends up getting called to a church in Arkansas, and the population of the town was 80. And so I remember he got up there, and the first thing he said in his message was, we send thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to missionaries who go to some of the most remote places on earth, and that's a good thing. But then we have somebody who surrenders to the ministry and to a call that God puts on their life to go to small town America, and everybody thinks they've lost their mind. And I remember at that moment, there was just something that clicked in my spirit, like, oh my gosh, this, like, he's preaching to me. And so the service ends, everybody gets up, leaves the auditorium, and I couldn't move. I was like frozen. And my wife comes up to me, she puts her hand on my shoulder, and she wasn't like, are you okay?
That's what I would have done.
Yeah, the first thing she says is, she's like, we're moving back to a small town, aren't we?
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, yeah, I think we are. So
yeah, because in that moment, if I was her, I'd have been like, oh man, something big's about to change.
Well, she was
for
born
her for being ready to roll.
She was born and raised in Kansas City, so she's a city girl. And so for her in that moment, I've oftentimes not really stopped to think about how that made her feel, because she loves the city, or used to. I mean, she loves our pace of life now. But
dude, there's some things about this, like just Chick-fil-A,
being
closer.
Yeah, I mean, the convenience of it, you can't argue with the convenience of it. Right. But
you can't like forget a gallon of milk,
right?
If you live in rural Missouri, you know.
There's some things about the city that are okay, but the biggest
would you
thing
ever buy milk from Casey's? Like,
would I ever? Or have I ever?
Would you?
I didn't even know they sold milk.
They do.
Yeah.
Or I just remember thinking, like, I don't know if I'd ever be so desperate to buy a half gallon of milk from Casey's.
I don't know that I would be.
Anyway, sorry, super tangent there. Sorry.
So that conference happens. That was in, I believe, early 2014, and
Caleb's like 6 years old at this time.
Yeah, so we moved here. He was 7 when we moved here, and
it's hard to imagine him so little.
Yeah, and and then the story that got us back here is that at the time, I was still really good friends with. I'm still really good friends with Pastor Jamie. He's still he's like a spiritual.
You're doing
father.
This thing that I talk about a lot, which is okay, by the way, because I think it's something as men that we do to be able to reflect. But like, I feel like I do this a lot. I'm in like a third party view of my life.
Right. Yeah.
Like I'm telling it from I'm out of body. It's
Absolutely.
weird. So, but yes, still good friends with Pastor Jamie.
He's one of my spiritual mentors. I mean, just one of the most influential guys in my life, and
also a legendary musician who I'll have on at some point too.
Incredibly gifted, yeah. So he calls me in 2015, and he goes, "Hey, we're creating a position at Faith Family, and your name has come up several times, and we'd be curious to know if you might be interested in the job." And I'm like, "Yes." Didn't even hear. There wasn't a whole lot of description of the job.
Sure. Yeah.
But it was the whole rural Missouri small town thing that captured my interest.
And it was timing wise. And was that kind of out of the blue, or
completely out of the blue? Okay. Was not solicited. I think he had he probably had a finger on the pulse of like where I was in my faith journey, and kind of. I can't remember if I had told him my experience at that conference or not. I don't remember that, but yeah, I was certainly not. Hey, do you have a job for me? Like, it wasn't that at all. And
or Steph sent an anonymous letter.
Yeah, that I'm not aware of to this day. But 6 weeks, it was almost 6 weeks to the day from that initial phone call that we packed up everything and left and moved back to Fayette 2015.
Jeez.
Yeah. And we've been here ever since.
Yeah. There wasn't a gap in there.
Nope.
Yeah, because I graduated 2013, then I'm in college. So we had a couple of good college years together. You remember doing like, what? Did we do breakfast every Friday morning?
We did. You, me, and Thomas. Casey's
at our
breakfast
lake house.
Pizza. Yeah.
Those
are really, really good times.
Those are some of those moments where like I feel like I do a decent job now of trying to like live and in the moment to know that like I don't know if this is ever the last conversation we'll have, you know, and live my life in a way that like if this is the last conversation we had, that like I feel good about that, you know. Those are some of those moments that I'm like, I did not know I was in the good old
Sure.
days until later. But those were some
great conversations
when my body could digest Casey's pizza too.
Dude, we ate so terrible. So,
well, talk me through like when, because you kind of talked about 2012-ish was when you kind of got more serious about your faith. Was there something that instigated that specifically, or was it seeing just a big movement of the church, or was it a trial or suffering? Like, what was it?
Yeah. So, when I was at Marshfield, it quickly became apparent that my plans were not God's plans. The whole get into the COC, quickly get people's attention, become a head coach kind of thing. And there were just a series of events that happened that made me really aware of the fact that Marshfield was not going to be the place that we were going to stay. And I just got to a place where, as a man, as a person, I did not like the person that I had become as a basketball coach.
How so?
I just made it was my identity. It was who I was. And obviously at the time, I had two kids. Caleb was born in 07, Kayleigh was born in 09. And so we had two kids at home, I had a wife at home. My job was 45 minutes from our house. And especially during basketball season, I left before they were up. I got home when they were in bed.
Yep.
And it didn't bother me. And it got to a place where it bothered me. And I think the Lord just kind of began to do a work in my heart that what I was doing was not in and of itself sinful or wrong, but how I was doing it was. And so he began to work on me first and foremost in my relationship with him. And so I began to pursue him at a deeper level, a more personal level that was not corporate. And one of the things that I quickly realized is that you make time for what is important to you. And at that point in time, I was not making time for that. And so I had to get to a place in my life where I was pursuing my relationship with Jesus. And as I began to do that at a deeper level, he began to reveal a lot of things to me, like, this has become your golden calf. And so at that point in time, I think that the calling for me to get into full-time ministry at that point in time was the avenue by which I was able to die to that and to be able to say, I need to learn how to do life without being coach first,
Yeah, because you went to college to teach, right?
Yeah. So I had the opportunity to go to school to play ball a couple different places, but I intentionally didn't want to do that because I always wanted to coach. I coached my first basketball game when I was 16 years old. I coached a girls traveling team when I was 16. And so I always wanted to coach. It was always the plan. It was always the plan. There was no backup plan.
Yeah.
Even my relationships, my dating relationships, my dating relationships were awful because I was a terrible human being when it was basketball season. It was, I'll see you in May or I'll see you in March when basketball's over, And so relationally, I was just not a good friend. And here I am married and the father of two kids and I'm doing the same thing to them,
Yeah.
So I think at that point in time, the only thing that mattered was wins. The only thing that mattered was how many trophies can you put in the case? How many banners can you put in the ceiling? And nothing else mattered. And then God kind of got my attention at that point in time. And that's when my heart really kind of started to change and it became more about people and relationships. And he gave me the opportunity to truly die to that. And then looking back on it, I think it was an opportunity for me to make a choice. Like, I'm going to give you the opportunity to really pursue something that will emphasize the importance of relationships and people. And so at that moment, I thought it was the best thing for me and my family at that point in time. So left in 2012, went on to, left teaching 2012. Here's a guy with no experience, no education in church ministry, and the church that I was working for took a chance on me, and I'm so grateful they did. And I think it changed my marriage. I think it changed the way that I parented. It just changed who I was as a person at the very core of who I am. So
that's good that it wasn't necessarily anything. I think it's a grace of the Lord to even bring you aware of that. But I'm always thankful that when he does it in a way that just doesn't absolutely wreck you.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
And I'm grateful that I didn't press the issue, right? Because I
Sure.
mean, I'm glad it didn't take me getting fired
Yeah.
or some kind
Yeah,
of
3 years isn't that long
no.
compared to what you could have probably been running at. So,
Yeah.
well, so we're here now. You get back to Fayette. You take the Faith Family associate pastor job at that
Yeah,
point.
the official title was assistant pastor, but
Assistant
it's it was
pastor.
very much so an
But
associate
not a
type
youth
role.
pastor.
No,
Right.
no,
Yep.
that was not part of my title.
Yep.
Now there came a point where I had to oversee our student ministry at
Right.
that point in time, and so still doing that even to this day, where we're overseeing our student ministry and of course the season of life we're in now. I think it's awesome because I get to see them in multiple different ways now. So, but yeah, so came back in 2015 as the assistant pastor at Faith Family Church.
Yeah. Talk to me about that run, because you just recently, we were talking about that as a little over a year ago since you took the coaching job here.
Yeah.
But talk to me about those 10 years.
Yeah, it was
10?
just shy. It was 9 years, a little over 9
Yeah.
years.
Again, I
about
was
9.5.
missing for a large chunk of that too. But
Yeah, so serving at the church here at Faith Family has been an incredible blessing for me and my family. And honestly, when we came back in 2015, again, as I obviously am very guilty of doing, and made these plans in my head, like this is where it's going to happen. Like I'm going to do the assistant pastor thing. I'm going to be the senior pastor, the lead pastor at some point in time. I'm going to retire and ride off into the retired pastor sunset.
What is that? Because I feel like, I don't know if that's a man thing, or it feels also very like maybe millennial to just be like, I've arrived, yay. And I think hopefully I'm still learning that, like, you don't really know, but
you would think at some point in time I would learn to stop telling God what the end of the story is going to be, right?
Or just be like, all right, God, you did it,
right? Yeah,
leave me alone.
Thanks for getting me here.
You did it. Don't do anything else.
Yeah. So we arrived back here in 2015, and it was kind of surreal because we knew we were going to go back to small town. Never thought in a million years it'd bring us back here.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, like, we were just grateful for that because we still had friends here. We still had a support system at the church that we attended when we were here the first time.
We still had McDonald's at that point too, right?
When
you came back.
Yeah. And Dairy Queen, and the Taco Bell was gone at that point in time. It had gone.
That's right.
It had gone away. But so we felt so confident coming back. It was like coming home. I mean, it was like we had just been away for a while. And the odd part was now there are people who are really core people in our community who I had as students, and yourself, Kana, just so many of the people who are pivotal people in our community, and I had them as students or in the youth group or this, that, or the other.
I always feel like you're like way older than me. Not to offend you, but I always like, we're not that far off.
No.
14 years, I think.
I
we're
think
not that far.
Yeah, what a lot of people don't realize is that I was only 24 years old when I took the head coaching job here in 2004. So I was just a kid.
I think it's the beard.
Yeah. And I would probably look significantly younger if I cut it off, but
you should dye it.
I don't think so.
That's all right. Fayette High School boys basketball. That should be some sort of like reward. Is you'll like go like black jet, dye your beard if you all do something.
The funny thing is that this past year, in my first year back in the classroom and teaching, so I have basketball players who are on my team whose parents were students of mine when I was there.
Jeez.
And so there were pictures floating around, circulating around the school because I used to have hair.
Yeah, when did you lose your hair?
So, funny story, and this is true.
Sorry.
No, you're good. This is
a better way to ask
I promise you, this is the God's honest truth. So my daughter was born in 2009. And when we brought her home from the hospital is the first time I ever shaved my head.
Wow.
And my wife looked at me and she's like, "What are you doing?"
Well, Obama was president too, so
yeah, I don't know that was a contributing factor, but she's like, "What are you doing?" And I kid you not, I looked at her square in the face. I'm like, "Steph, we have a daughter now, and she's gonna make me lose my hair anyway, so I'm just gonna start shaving it now." That is exactly what I said, and I have been shaving my head ever since.
Wow.
So I don't even know what my head would look like if it had hair on it now. It's been 15 years, 14. Math is hard for me, but she was born. I shaved my head, never went back. So Yeah.
Do you have a little like racetrack razor thing where it's on like wheels and you shave, or
No,
you
so
good
I'm
enough you can just
looking.
do it with a
So I
razor?
just use a razor.
You
So
dog.
I'm a
Yeah.
Defender razor guy. I don't know if you've heard of Defender razors.
No.
So just like everything else in life, there's a subscription service, and
Yes.
so
Yeah.
they send me a box of razors every 2 months, I think, and they're the ones that I've found that are most comfortable for my noggin. So that's
Yeah,
what I
I'm
use.
really easily sold to. So I had like a Dollar Shave Club
Hmm.
subscription that I still haven't figured out how to cancel, and I don't even know if it's like a real
I
company
used to,
anymore.
yeah.
But this podcast is brought to you by, you guessed it, me, Landon Ball, State Farm agent. Do you feel like insurance doesn't make any sense? You are not alone. My team and I are trying to figure that out like every day. If you want to understand your insurance policy better, specifically if you have like a life or car or home insurance policy that some brother-in-law or uncle twice removed sold you years ago, reach out to my team here in Fayette at 660-248-2424 or go to our website at fayetteinsuranceteam.com. Please don't call me with anything non-insurance related. Don't call our office if it's not about insurance. Please don't call or contact our office if it's about ice cream shop. Anything that's not insurance related. Thanks.
I used
Yeah.
to do Dollar Shave Club
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
and canceled them for some personal reasons,
Yeah.
but it was what it is. So.
Is there a story there?
Well, so I'm a pretty loyal guy to there's certain people. I want to be careful how I say this, but like there are certain groups of people that I'm super loyal to. Law enforcement,
Sure.
military
Sure.
personnel, those types of things.
Oh,
And so
okay.
anytime there is an event where somebody does something that I think is intentionally non-supportive of those particular types of
Sure.
communities, I have a tendency to be like, I can find somebody else, So,
Yeah.
so that kind of happened back in the whole several years ago when everything was a hot
Cancel
mess.
culture.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
so I'm like, it's time to find another razor company.
There
So
you
that's what I
go.
did. So,
Defender. Well, and I see you got the Black Rifle coffee
yeah,
too.
we're diehard Black Rifle
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
that we're subscription with them too. We're probably is it Rocket Money that like it advertises about showing up and like canceling
Yeah.
on like
Yeah.
I'm
No,
sure
no,
I'm
no.
the
There's a subscription to this
right.
podcast.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
can
yeah.
get him on that real quick.
So, but yeah, so Black Rifle delivers 3 bags of coffee to us every
Nice.
month.
And you go through them, I assume.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, we're Black Rifle people.
Are you a kind of like fancy? Do you press your coffee or just send it through the Keurig?
So
Or,
we drink so much of it, it's too time consuming to
so we're
to
just doing
press
the
it or
Mr.
to
Coffee.
yeah.
Does it come as beans already ground?
That comes as beans. So
Nice.
we
All right,
we
so
have a
that's fancy.
grinder.
It's
Yeah,
next
we have a
level.
grinder, and I do love a good cup of French press coffee. So we do have a French press at the house, but most days our schedule is so nuts that it's just you make it the night before, hit the timer,
Yep.
it percolates in the morning, you fill your cup, and you're out
I
the
feel
door.
like
So
French press is only for like if you're wearing Chacos, haven't showered in 3
right,
days, and
yeah,
you're outside.
yeah. And
That's
I
when
don't
you use
own
a French press.
Chacos, so
Good for you.
it's
I don't own any Chacos either. I'm scared that I'm one of those people that when I like something, I don't give a rip what anybody else thinks
right.
about. And luckily, I have a wife who's like, "That looks bad. You should not do that."
Yeah,
And then I'll be like,
yeah.
and she's like, "You asked me," but I. I'm afraid I would like Chacos, and then I would attempt to make Chacos cool, like I did Crocs.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm still big on Crocs.
Still don't have Crocs. Yeah.
You don't have Crocs?
I don't own a pair of Crocs. Yeah. So
Should.
I'm pretty brand. When I find something I like you said, I kind of
Yeah.
stick with it. So
What are some of your brands?
yeah, so I'm a big air out boot guy. So
Okay.
I'm pretty loyal to air out boots.
Dude, I cannot wear boots.
So-
I don't have the ankle strength to do it.
As you're well aware, before I went back into coaching, it's all I ever wore.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
So today I do not have them on. Today I'm in
You're
shorts.
coaching. You're
yeah,
coaching.
yeah.
You're-
So
Also,
but-
it's too hot for boots. You would, yeah.
yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But On Cloud, I own several pairs of On Cloud tennis shoes,
Tennis
and then
shoes,
like
okay.
I just bought these. These are the Nike Metcons, I think. And
Yep.
so, I did kind of revert back to some of my tennis shoe or like athletic shoe snobbery
Yep.
when I went back into coaching. So it's like you got to have shoes to match this color and this, that, and the other. So
Yeah,
I got
I
a
have
few more
one of
pairs
each
tennis
colors
shoes.
of these. The
Yeah.
wolf and shepherds.
Yeah, you've told me about those,
Dude, I love wolf and
You've told
shepherds.
me about those.
But I gotta buy them from like the broken section, so they're like half the price.
Yeah.
Is what I usually, or the mist tinted one.
Yeah, I was actually looking at those for shoes to coach basketball in.
Yeah, they would be comfy
And,
enough to do it in.
And I still may, because last year I wore the Dunks, which are super popular right
Yep,
now.
yep.
But I'm just gonna maybe unpopular opinion. They're the most uncomfortable shoes I've ever had on my feet.
Yeah.
And so then
You're
I
talking
had
about like Jordans?
yeah. And so then I had a similar looking pair that I got from New Balance, and they were super comfortable.
I like
so
New
I
Balance,
enjoyed those. But
what are some other
constantly
weird
evolving.
brands we would not expect?
Magellan is one that I wear a lot. I have a lot of Magellan
Is that
stuff.
hunting?
So so it's like an outdoor brand.
First Light for me. I'm a
Yeah,
big First Light guy.
I don't wear Magellan camo, but like it's fishing gear. So it's the Academy's kind of main brand. It's like their own personal brand. It's certainly a lot more economical friendly than some of the other ones. But
before anybody judges me, First Light, I'm not super rich. I own one T-shirt that I can't find from First Light. But if I were to ever buy camo, it would be from First Light. But right now, I've just been piecemealing like Walmart, Mossy Oak, together.
Yeah, so no judgment here at all. Like there's a lot of hunting stuff that I have been using for 15 years. I mean,
and the only deer I ever shot was on the ground from 5 yards away. So
I remember you telling me about that story.
I was texting Wes at the time when it happened, and I've actually, it's so dumb of me. I have tried to recreate that moment to shoot another deer where. And maybe it's, again, like me just living in this movie, not in the moment of reality, where that hunt was so bad. It was the last day. It was like 60 degrees. The last day of season. I walk out there with a bucket and a blind and some antlers. I can't put the blind up. I drop the antlers into the bucket. I'm just done. So I walk into the woods and I sit down on a log, dude. And I just start. I had the extinguisher call. Yeah. That was the big deal. I still have it. It's good. And I just start ripping. Like I'm gonna attract a turkey, just start ripping some calls, man. It sounds like there's like 8 deer getting ready to make out like in this creek bed. Yeah. So I'm just ripping it for like 15 minutes, and then just out of nowhere I hear a large squirrel. That's what squirrel. Yeah, it's just a large squirrel just starts walking by, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a deer. I'm sitting on a log. It's like from me to like that wall, and stops broadside. And I just go 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's 4. Because did that change? It doesn't have to be 4 on a side anymore.
There are some counties in Missouri that still adhere to that. Okay. I don't think Howard County requires that anymore.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
I'd have to double check.
Popped it with a 270 from 5 yards away.
Yeah. So the back shoulder was probably dunzo.
Shards everywhere. Yeah. But I do it, and Wes is hunting at the time. He's like, "Did you just shoot something?" And I call Logan, and I'm like, like the buck fever, right?
Yeah.
It's a real thing. Oh, it's a real thing, But it was very cool. I'd like to shoot another deer. Are you doing any prep already on this summer? Yeah.
So we
seen anything good? Where? Just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
I'm
Tell
like,
me where they are.
Cut. Good to see you guys. Yeah. No, so we haven't seen a ton, but we do that pretty intentionally. So we just try to leave it all alone. And they've made it more difficult now in Missouri just to run cameras. We've had to change our whole strategy.
Why?
And how we do that. So in the state of Missouri, because of the whole EHD thing, you're no longer allowed to have mineral licks or corn piles and stuff like that. Obviously in Missouri, you can't hunt over either one of those.
Deer COVID.
But when we had cameras and stuff out, you would do that as an attractant to kind of take inventory of what you got in the area and that kind of stuff. Dumping apples.
Can you dump like food out to at least catch them? Not catch them, to see them.
Yeah.
I don't. Summer.
I'm not. You're not supposed to do anything that would purposefully make a large number of deer come to the same area. Because of the whole
I can't
EHD
be ripping
thing.
an extinguisher call in the middle.
It's probably borderline, man. It's probably borderline, but no,
dude. Imagine getting detained because
upset.
You dude just ripping deer
calling. Is that a real thing?
Yeah, dude, I would be. It would be amazing. Yeah.
But right now we're spending a lot of time, getting bows ready and that kind of stuff. So we're shooting and trying to make sure.
Are you shooting a real bow or a crossbow?
So I will shoot both this year. So several years ago, I tore my labrum in my shoulder, and I shoot left-handed. I'm left eye dominant, so that's my draw arm, obviously. And it got really tough to pull a bow back. So I was generously gifted a Raven crossbow, which is like the Cadillac of crossbows. And so I've hunted during archery season with that the last 2 or 3 years.
Did you get something with it?
So yeah. I think
I'm going to get a crossbow because I had a labrum surgery now 16 years ago, but that draw is a lot. And then I only fired the bow once at a coyote, and I didn't hit it well enough, so I felt awful. And I was just like, man, I don't want to shoot something that I'm not super confident is going to put something down.
Yeah.
So I would like to get back into the woods during bow season because you just get so much more time out there.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm going to do it. Y'all can judge me for whatever. I just don't want to. I don't want to take a shot at a deer that I'm not super.
No, that's responsible, man. Yeah, I mean, like you got to be confident in the shot you're taking. And
I work out for the record. All right,
the last thing you want to do is maim some deer that goes out somewhere and dies and it goes wasted and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's we shoot a lot this time of year, just trying to make sure we're ready for bow season so yeah, I plan to go back to my compound bow some this year. I shoot a Matthews, and so a good friend of ours who is a competitive archer, incredible shot with a bow. He's like a miracle worker with bows, and so he's actually has mine right now, putting a new string on it, getting it all ready to go. So it's a fun time of year. It's one of those we hate being outside this time of year too because it's hot, but at the same time, when you're outside usually doing something, it's getting ready for September 15th when bow season gets here.
Do you guys have a pool?
We do not.
Does Wes have a pool?
He does.
Okay, so yeah, you just go out there, shoot bows, and just dump. Yeah,
just jump in there when we need to. So.
Those are we had a pool growing up in Columbia, and that was kind of. I'm remembering how easy it was to just kind of beat the heat because, like, right now I'm showering like at least 3 times a day, and so it'd be nice to kind of just mow the lawn and then just jump in a pool and feel better about it.
Yeah, but it's usually like our last several years has been crazy dry, so like it's been brutally hard on deer herds just because of how dry it's been. Of course, EHD. When a deer contracts EHD, the first thing they do is go try to find water. So it's been crazy. Food plots have been hard the last several years because of a lack of rain. Yeah. But we certainly don't have a lack of rain this year.
We're crushing it this year.
Yeah,
do you
crazy.
Like really believe in the whole crisis with the EHD stuff?
I think it's real. I don't know that it's as bad as they want you to believe it is.
Yeah.
I've seen the effects of it. I mean, we had a hit lister deer, and it just simply means that he was a deer that we would have shot had we seen him.
Yeah. Call those a banger.
Yeah. So we had a hit lister deer. We called that particular deer. His name was Hat Rack. He had a brow tine that kicked, or he had a tine that kicked off and just did this little thing. So we called him Hat Rack. But saw him one time on foot, and then a couple. I can't remember. I think it was last spring. It wasn't this year. It was last spring. A friend of ours called and said, "I think I found your deer," and he had died down in the lake.
Wow.
And so, I mean, he could have got hit by a car right off the highway. He could have got shot, went off and died somewhere. But the thing when we're finding deadheads right now, when we're out looking for sheds and stuff, we're finding a lot of deadheads in the water, creek beds and things like that, and they're looking for water. So EHD is not the only thing that makes them go look for water. Sure. I mean, anytime they have any kind of infection, like digestive issues or whatever.
EHD, same thing as like
blue tongue. I think they're different. Yeah, they're all related, very similar kind of diseases, and so it's a hemorrhagic disease that just basically kills them slowly. It's a brutal death.
Have you listened much to the guy who does Meat Eater? What's his name?
Steve Rinella. Yeah.
Have you listened to him talk about this on? I think he talked about it on Rogan a little bit, where like he knows people for a fact that have eaten deer with CWD.
Sure.
And there's at least no. He was talking about the nervousnesses. There's no crossover yet that we can determine, but I think his same nervousness is around COVID of like they're trying to test to see how it would. And that's really scary if they figure out how it gets crossover and then all of a sudden that somehow gets out and now we can't shoot and eat deer. Or if it gets to cows, like that would mess up food in America.
Yeah, and what frustrates me about those types of situations is it's all about somebody being in control of the information, right? Like, can we just for once, like just trust that God knew what He was doing when He created the world and see how things go and
speaking
not
of
panic
of Rogan and that, where are you at on aliens?
Aliens? I've not given the
was
whole
that on your list of things you thought I'd ask?
I'm not sure that I've ever pondered that at all in my lifetime. I did watch the movie Independence Day, so if
never
you never seen that movie,
no.
Will Smith back in his Fresh Prince, like post Fresh Prince days, before he was Muhammad Ali. So
wasn't allowed to watch any of those.
We watch it every 4th of July.
I did watch Hitch.
That's a good one.
And Hitch 2? Is there 2?
I don't know if there's a Hitch 2 or not. Eva Mendes.
Is there a Hitch 2?
Eva Mendes was in Hitch, and
yeah. I remember Hitch because I remember he drank like a whole bottle of Benadryl.
Yeah,
and then folks, kids Benadryl does not have any business tasting as good as it does.
Yeah, that's
scary. Ridiculous. It's silly good. Yeah. Is there a Hitch 2?
Reportedly, it's in the works.
Okay, yeah, they've been saying that for like 10 years, so that's not happening. That, and then I remember randomly watching, was it 7 Pounds or 7?
Yeah, I know what movie you're talking about, but I've not watched it.
With Will Smith in it. Yeah. I watched that at Jamie Page's house with Andrew.
Yeah,
and was like,
isn't that the one where he like
electrocutes himself in the bathtub? Yeah, in the bathtub. Yeah. With jellyfish. That's right. So he could preserve his organs. It was a feel good because he donated his organs, so he could preserve his organs to give it to somebody important to him. I can't remember if it was like a kid or a lover, but not sorry, Pastor or Andrew, if I just outed you. We watched that at Pastor Jamie's house.
Will Smith was really good in I Am Legend.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch that.
Yeah, so that whole movie was based upon
aliens, right?
No, it wasn't aliens, but it was.
Oh, I Am Legend is like where he's got the dog,
it's
right?
the zombie one, right? So where they tried to find this cure for cancer.
Stuff. If I was allowed to watch it, I didn't even watch it. But anyway, tell us what the movie is about.
Yeah, so they try to find this cure for cancer. They start giving it to human patients, and then it starts this mutation process. Then which is basically annihilating all of mankind. Yeah. And so Will Smith, through the duration of the movie, is the only person left. I believe I think it was New York City or Chicago or something like that. And so he had this German Shepherd, and it was just like him and this dog the entire movie,
Did
like
the dog
trying
die?
to survive. Yeah, got infected, became a dog zombie, and he had to put it down. Yeah, We're ruined. Like for people who've never
spoiler.
This movie has been out for
I always get that confused with Book of Eli too. Those two like are a crossover for me, where I'm like, was that or that movie? But I hate any movie where they kill the dog.
It is hard to fool me for an entire movie, and then it be at the end of the movie, and then the big reveal happens. I'm like, I didn't see that coming. Like Book of Eli was that movie. Yeah. Like I watched that movie, and then when they made the big reveal about Denzel Washington at the end of that movie, I was like,
that was Denzel Washington?
Yeah.
Is that the reveal that it was Denzel Washington? No. That he was blind?
That he was blind.
Yeah.
And so they make that big reveal at the end of the movie, and I'm like, I get out of my chair and I'm yelling like, no way. And so it was, that movie got me.
What are some other movies like that? Big reveals at the end. I feel like Knives Out.
I haven't seen that one.
Knives Out 2 got me pretty good.
Yeah.
You need to watch those. Those are pretty good.
I can't even tell you the last time I watched the movie.
Good for you. You know, we don't have time for that.
No.
What's your favorite movie if you had to pin it?
If I had to pick one right this very moment, it would be Gladiator.
Haven't watched that either.
Russell Crowe and Gladiator. They came out with Gladiator 2 a couple years ago, and
aren't they coming out with a new
I
one?
pre-bought tickets. And my wife, I apologized to her because I didn't ask permission. Not that I have to have permission, but like, you know what I mean? Like, usually we talk before we do those types of things.
You have to have permission.
That's fair. But she goes, no. So I was like, hey, don't be mad at me. I just bought these tickets so that we could go watch this movie. And she's like, I knew you were going to do that because I love Gladiator. So she knew as soon as it came out in theaters that it was going to happen. So people are going to probably think less of me for this, but like Top Gun 2, it's a good movie.
I think I've only seen Top Gun 2.
Yeah, Top Gun 1 was great.
I feel like it's just to like look at hot dudes, right? It's Top Gun. Like,
that is not personally why I watched it.
It's military Magic Mike, right?
I've never heard it described that way, but
you heard it here first. I mean, that feels like that's like the.
My hope is that your description of that movie will not prevent me from watching it again. Moving forward in life.
But I feel like those are one of those movies that I watch. Like that's how I was with 13 Hours. Any Jack Ryan stuff where I'm just like. And I'll just start doing push-ups.
Yeah.
And then go clean my guns, you know? Yeah. Like just start doing push-ups. You're like, here we go. But Top Gun 2 is just, that's actually a great way to describe it. That needs to go up somewhere. It's just magic, military Magic Mike.
It's like the perfect balance for like, I could go into Top Gun 2 with my girlfriend and like, there's, it's action. There's pretty guys. There's pretty girls.
Okay. Let's test this. What's the plot
of Top Gun 2?
Yeah.
I would say at the root of Top Gun 2 is the relationship between Maverick and Rooster.
Right. So this isn't even about like, I don't even know who they're at war with. Were they at war with anybody? Was it Chinese planes?
They were Russian 5th generation
This is
fighters.
what I'm saying. This is just about hot dudes building their relationship.
Your questions. There's a plot.
I know. I'm just saying. But that's my point is like 13 hours is at least, that's Benghazi, right? Like there's at least a story.
I have to refresh my memory. I'm not
pretty sure
if I've
that's
seen
it. Look up
I think
what
you're
13
right.
hours is about. I think that's
that was
about
the one that was based on the Benghazi.
Benghazi and Clinton leaving them there. I didn't say that. Edit that out. I don't want to get offed.
Like actually or jokingly?
I don't know. Offed.
You just made
Dude,
the list.
Y'all, that's one way to go famous too, is if I get hit from a podcast with 150 views and one of them is Hillary and Bill.
Oh, goodness gracious.
My ghost will be a menace for that. An absolute menace. What do you got?
It says on September 11, 2012, Islamic militants attacked the U.S. consulate in Benghazi.
What did you go? Okay, so it's about Benghazi. And is Benghazi where, at least reportedly, these guys got left with no help? I'm pretty sure that's the plot of the movie. Yeah. But that's my point is like there's at least a plot there. You know, Jack Ryan's based off a book series. Is Top Gun based off a book?
No.
So yeah, it's just like hot dudes figuring out a story and, you know, and some love interest, I'm sure. Like Tom Cruise has a lady in that, right?
Yep.
You know, it's just...
Who's the actor in the second Top Gun? He's a good looking dude. Like
which one?
Austin, is it
the one that played Rooster?
Yeah, the other protagonist.
You got a lot of hot guys in that. You got the Glenn
the dude who was in Twister 2?
Yeah,
he's in that movie.
What's his name?
Look
Twister.
up
Hot
Glenn
guy
is
from
correct.
Twister.
I don't remember his last name. But...
Hot guy from Twister.
Are you talking about the newest Twister?
What have we done? Like, how did we get here?
I'm doing it. Cody's being too slow. Here we go.
You're asking a million questions.
Hot guy from Twister.
Yeah, I'm not Googling that.
Glenn Powell, baby. Glenn Powell.
Glenn
Google knows what I'm doing. All right.
And then the guys that played Rooster in that movie, what was his name?
Austin Miles?
Miles is part of the
Austin
name.
Teller?
Is it Austin? Miles Teller.
Miles Teller.
Yeah,
where am I getting Austin
That's who I was thinking about.
Miles Teller. I think so. Yeah, that's him. He's in...
Yeah.
I thought his best work was that Bud Light commercial in the Super Bowl. Remember when they were on hold and dancing? Yeah, that was some of his best work.
I thought they did an incredible job of casting that character in that movie. Now, fun fact: Glenn, what was his name?
Glenn Beck Powell.
Glenn Beck. That guy actually auditioned for the role of Rooster.
I did see that.
And so he did. But I thought that Miles Teller.
Yeah.
I thought that as the son of Goose in the first, they did a fantastic job of casting somebody that looked like him, that had the same mannerisms as Goose did. So
I feel like they did I feel like it was purely just a nostalgia movie, but I feel like they did a good job of like recalling it in a good way. I'm trying to think of some movies that have been bad. Like, you know, the trilogy of the Star Wars trilogy didn't do well. Like the third one. I'm trying to think of like
all 11 Fast and Furious movies or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think we're at 13.
That's a guilty pleasure in our household. I got to be honest.
Fast and Furious.
Yeah, every time it comes out, I take my wife on a date night. We go watch Vin Diesel.
Way too much cleavage for me to be able to watch that. So,
oh goodness,
dude! And Vin Diesel's best work was not Fast and Furious. What is it?
Vin Diesel's probably
The Pacifier.
I forgot he was even in that movie.
Dude, that was like his big break.
Yeah.
They are 11 movies in right now, and apparently they're going on another one. It looks like.
They're contracted to do one more. I think.
So yeah, Fast and Furious is one of yours. You want to know what mine is?
Guilty pleasure movie.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Or movies, like The Muppets.
I've seen all those. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's just funny.
Yeah.
Like Kermit's
clean,
just funnier than everybody. He was actually our employee of the month.
Kermit was
this summer. Yeah. I had a new idea, but I forgot who the next.
I heard 90-degree.
Yeah, that's fine.
Turn.
That's what we do.
I heard that I was selected as Henry's #1 customer, and it is on a piece of paper in the.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah. It's because you fixed a shelf for us. That's right.
Right. Yeah, I fixed the shelf and wrote it myself. And put it in.
Folks, there is a lot you do need to know about business, but I read in something. There's this rocket scientist that I got to see speak this past year named Ozan Varol. And one of his things that he says is experimenting is better than theorizing, especially on low consequence. And so when I launched Henry's, it was a lot of like, let's put this shelf up here. I guess it'll go there. And then you probably figured out like, this isn't nailed into anything.
No. the fact that it made it as long as it did was a miracle in itself. So, but we got it.
But I think I was in Wisconsin maybe when you did that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you were out of town.
Or Miami.
I was happy to do that for you. So.
Yeah, you got some free ice cream.
I did. It was delicious.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm trying to think. We can get back to something more relative now. But one of the debates I was having with Kyle in my office recently, and this kind of goes back to maybe some of your coaching style, taking over. Like obviously not a state championship winning program, and trying to build a program back up, but just different perspectives of, like Kyle with no kids, me with kids, and just thinking about like, and not having it be an either or, but like there seems to be in the coaching world this contrast between winning at all costs and character, and those seem to be costing each other. And the great coaches are the ones that can do, both of those things. But what's kind of your opinion on just how important winning is, period, and then winning relative to developing young men? If you listen to Andy and I's podcast, we talked a little bit about this, but I'd like to talk about too, like I'm very lucky that I did a lot of my formative sports years in Columbia on some really good teams. And I do think it was the difference between me and some other people who grew up in non-competitive leagues. But what's kind of I've asked you about 3 different, phases of questions in there, but what are some of your opinions on that kind of philosophy, winning at all costs, character building, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So my philosophy on that has obviously changed over the years. When I was in my early 20s, it was win at all costs, regardless of what you have to do. And that has certainly changed as I've matured and gotten older.
Why? And when you say win at all costs, like what were you winning and not thinking about even how the kids felt, kind of thing? Is that what you're?
Yeah, I would put it this way. I was very much so a transactional coach in my early days, and now my goal and my prayer is that I'm a transformational coach. I think winning is important as a consequence or as a result of the hard work that you put in to do it. My philosophy has changed over the years, where I think the disconnect a lot of times is that winning programs, nobody sees the work that goes into winning programs that happens when the cameras aren't on, when it's not being posted on social media. The highlights are on ESPN. Like nobody sees the work that goes into that success. Very rarely are there individuals that wake up in the morning and, in the words of Ricky Bobby, just pee excellence, right? I mean, it doesn't happen.
But same movie. If you ain't first, you're last, right?
That's right. Yeah. So my perception of winning has changed over the years, where of course I want to win as many games as we can, and I think that there's a lot to learn from that. But it has less to do with the winning and more with what you did to get there.
Yeah.
And that's the disconnect that I see with the average athlete in today's world. And I'm not speaking specifically to Fayette athletics, but just in general. We've got a lot of experience the last 4 or 5 years with the travel ball circuit and all those types of things. And so it's the same thing everywhere I've been, is that everybody wants to win, but nobody wants to do the work to be the winner.
Yeah.
And so the philosophy for me is that if nothing else, over the rest of these years of my coaching career, my hope is that we can teach our kids to do the hard thing. Yeah. And that is how you're going to win.
I think that's where I'm trying to tease out this philosophy some of what, as a leader, I think motivation is, I think when leaders think they have to motivate people, I think that's baloney. Like, I think me being able to motivate somebody is certainly not my job. And maybe I'm in an adult professional setting versus, leading kids. But do you think there's something to tasting winning? Like, one of the questions I've thought of is like, would you rather win and be dissatisfied with how you won, or lose and be satisfied with how you lost? If those are your only 2 options.
If those are my only 2 options, let me kind of refer back to, I'll answer it this way. I remember,
and that was a dumb question too.
No, I remember in 04-05 when we were 7 points away from the Final Four here in Fayette.
Yeah.
So St. Louis Lutheran North beat us by 7 points in the quarterfinal game. They go on and they won the semifinal game by I think 27, the state championship game by 31.
Yes,
so in essence, on paper,
yep.
that game with us was the state championship game.
Yep.
In
Yep.
essence. I remember walking off the floor that night. My mom and dad were both in the crowd that night. They came to the locker room that met me as I came out, and I remember I was really emotional, but I was really disappointed. Because I thought, man, there's a lot of teams that would love to be in this position.
Yeah.
But like, I thought it would feel different. And I think it was at that moment when I realized we finished that year 23-7. We won a lot of basketball games. 4 of those 7 losses were before Christmas. And so we had an incredible basketball season that year. And when it was over, there was a lot to celebrate. But I remember asking myself, like, what do I have to do to feel like this was a success? I mean, and so there was this, for several years, it was this journey of trying to figure out that there's a whole lot more to this than just your record. Now, obviously, I would rather be 3-27 than win 3 games.
You mean 27-3?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we played 30 games that year because we made a deep run in state.
Yeah.
Usually
you
your
said
records,
3-27 though.
Oh,
Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I would rather be 23-7.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Than be
3-27.
3-27.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, so
you said I'd rather be 3-27. I was like, no, you don't.
I would rather have a 23 win record than a 3 win record. But I also will say this: I think that there's a lot to be learned from failure.
Yeah.
And so I think that our job as coaches is to create an environment that they understand that you will win eventually. The wins will come when the work happens.
Yeah.
But if you're expecting to win and you're not showing up to work, then you're silly to think that you're going to ever win.
Yeah.
And so, but I also think part of our job is also, even when we're not winning, are there things that we can learn from that?
Yeah, it's
the ultimate goal is to win. The ultimate goal, you want to win as many games as you can. And I think there's a lot to learn from winning. But for me, what was win as many games as possible was the objective at 24 years old. Now that I'm 44 years old, the objective is to be the builder of young men. Yeah. And so I don't know if that answers your question.
I think it does and as a parent, if I had to pick between character and winning, I would want character development, you know. But I'm also remembering, as far as did you grow up playing on good teams, competitive basketball?
Yeah.
I think a lot of because of winning, I had at least a taste of what was possible. Mm-hmm. And so maybe there's that line I remember my senior year of basketball. Maybe not even my senior year, but I just remember years of basketball where we just knew from a talent perspective there was no hope. And so there wasn't any hope, there wasn't any motivation. And I think 2 of the most impactful sports moments I remember are when in middle school, my 11U team went to state, but I remember losing state by 1 the most.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't have been there if we hadn't won a ton of games to get there, right?
Sure.
And then I also remember my senior year, where I think Kendrick was more of a wins coach than a building kids character coach at the time. Anyway, that was my experience. My prefrontal cortex wasn't developed either, but I remember the savviness of getting into the bottom part of districts, because even I think that's where the hope part struggles, and maybe this just goes to talent alignment, but Salisbury existed for us. You got friggin' Francis's and Wyatt's that I will never be 6'8", and I'll foul out. I just will. Yeah. You know, but I remember very fun to, I think we beat Sturgeon and New Franklin on our way to lose. And we were pumped. We only lost by 25 to Salisbury in that district game too. So that's where I'm trying to figure out where, if you could, as a coach, win as many games, maybe you're not the greatest character coach, but you don't damage kids. Could the result of winning games be more impactful for the long term of that kid, for the long term effects of that person? Could that be better than, and this isn't obviously a nuanced question, but I'm just trying to lay out who's going to have more of a competitive spirit, the person who won more or the person who had excellent coaching? Yeah. What's your experience in that?
I think it depends on both. I think it depends on the kid. I'll use my son as an example. So my son is the most competitive human being that I know, and he's never been a part of a winning team. Um, from a basketball standpoint. Now he was he was the kicker on a district champion football team and those types of things. But I think what he has learned because of that is to value the things that you can still learn and become. Like, he's going to play college basketball.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was not part of a winning team in his high school career on a basketball team did not hinder that. And so I think that I've learned that winning is good. There's a lot to be learned from winning, but if you have a kid who understands the value of hard work.
Well, and that the result of that hard work too. So maybe what we're getting at isn't necessarily the win column, but people actually performing competently.
Yeah.
I loved baseball, was a good little baseball player, and we didn't have a lot of wins, but I was performing competently. So maybe that's what it is like, I guess, this is maybe a better question for moving forward, but how do you instill hope when there may not be any hope because of just competition? Like, how do you still motivate them to give their very, very best? What's kind of your philosophy around that? What do you do with your kids right now to go, hey, some of you just aren't 6'5". You're not going to score 30 points a game. How do I still get them to be scrappy? Like, how have you navigated that?
Yeah, I think you have to frame what the win is. Like, the win is defined by way more than just if you score more points than the other team.
Right.
So for us, we break it down into really smaller pieces. One of the things that we say every day is, we're going to chase 1% today. And what we mean by that is when the day is over, when practice is over, when our summer weight workouts are over, are we 1% better than we were when we walked in the door?
That's a Pat Riley quote, right?
I think so. Yeah. And so we remind our guys about that every day. Another thing that we say every single day at the beginning of practice when we call it a link up. We come in, we talk about what we're going to focus on for that day. We break it down, and then we require our kids to say out loud collectively as a team, flip the switch. And what that does for us is to remind us, like, for these next 2 hours, regardless of what is happening in life, regardless of if I had a bad day at school, I'm going to flip the switch to become a better basketball player today. And so it's those are the things that we kind of define as wins. One of the things that I'm learning as a coach now too is that I purposefully break down wins into smaller categories. So what does it look like for us to get a win in the first 2 weeks of practice? What does it look for us to consider the first 3 weeks of our basketball season before Christmas? What does it look like for that to be a win? So we try to do things in a way which intentionally challenges our players to look at more than just, did we beat a team? Because in the grand scheme of things, 5 years from now, there'll be very few people that remember that. But what happens is that as you continue to go on through the days of your life, people are going to know whether you won or not. As a dad, as a husband, as a employee, as a business owner. And so if the grand scheme of things is, if the success of your life is determined by one score, so to speak, it becomes, you get left being disappointed a lot. And so what we try to teach our players is break it down into smaller victories and chase the small victories. I'll give you an example. So last year, beginning of the year, new program, new coach. I'm asking them to do things that they've never been asked to do. Frankly, most of them probably are still trying to figure out how to comprehend. We play West Tran. They thump us. I think it was by 40 plus. Worst loss of my career. We play them in the first round of districts, and we were, I think, up by 1 point going into the fourth quarter. And I think we ended up losing the game by less than 10 points. Like, I hate moral victories, but at the same time, I look at that and I'm like, we can classify that we got 1% better in that game.
What were your kids thinking in that moment, though?
I think our kids they still struggle when they see the score on the scoreboard.
Yeah, but in that game, even down by 1,
yeah,
could you see, minus Kaleb, because I think a great skill in life is him probably thinking he can win everything.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with him cutting his knee up doing that.
Yeah,
but like, was there belief that, like, oh, we could beat these guys?
Absolutely.
Really?
So when they came to the huddle going into the fourth quarter, there was absolutely no doubt in those boys' minds that we could win that game. Now, even conversations that we have with those boys, there are 8 games that our guys can go back and identify and say we should have won those games. Games that we lost by 8 points or less, games that went into overtime because we made dumb mistakes to get us there, games that we should have won, but they've never been in that position to win. So if they allow that to grow them and to learn from those mistakes, even though we didn't win the game, I think they'll look back on that and be like, that was a win for us.
Is there a way to train? Do you think there's a way to train those close moments in practice? How?
Absolutely.
How do you do it?
We intentionally do some situational things in practice. I'll be honest, we probably can do a better job of that, and that's something that's in my preseason planning stuff that I've already started for this year. But I think that you have situational moments where you got a minute and a half left, you're down by 5, you're tied with a minute left. There's some situational things that you can do in practice. Now, I will say this, it can be hard in practice because there's a huge talent discrepancy sometimes with your internal team. So you got your top 5, let's say you got your top 5 varsity guys, and then you've got your JV guys. It's hard sometimes to replicate in-game situations because of the discrepancy in ability.
And just the moment.
Yeah, I mean you don't.
I don't know how you recreate the blur of the last 90 seconds.
Yeah. So you do the best you can to try to coach those moments and make sure that everybody's speaking the same language. Everybody understands that if I'm saying this is what I mean.
Yeah.
And so you can do your best to try to drill those things in practice, but ultimately it comes down to being able to control your heartbeat in that moment.
Yeah.
People probably get tired of hearing me yell it in those situations. Last year in those close games, I was always yelling slow heartbeat, just reminding our guys to don't let the moment be bigger than you are. Yeah. And so I think that there are some things, but I think that the biggest thing is between the ears for some of these kids because they've just never been there. Yeah. And so you hope that as they continue to experience that, the first time they're able to overcome that, they're like, okay, that's how I need to feel in that moment. Yeah. So a lot of it is experience, and so my hope is that as we continue to build the program, they'll get to experience what that feels like, and then they'll be able to replicate that and be like, I never want to go back to that place where I let it get away. So,
are you one of those coaches that would pump crowd music into those last couple minute drills?
Yeah. I
remember doing that in high school.
It's not uncommon for us. Communicate. Yeah, we start practice with music. A lot of times we'll end practice with music, and it's not because we like music. It's because our job in every aspect of practice, from the intensity level to the drill work to the disadvantages that we create in practice, it is designed to be 5 times harder than the games. Yeah. So that when you're in those moments in the games, you're like, man, this is a light snack, So
I've got an idea. Right off the cuff here, you should have, because you could even pump crowd noise into it. You should have you should get a recording of every parent yelling something, like they would in the last 2 minutes, and I would hold it until your last practice before a big game, just to shake them. But what the? Oh, that was mom's voice, because you can't replicate that,
right? Yeah.
Because I think that's where sports has been such a big part of my life. Is I can remember those moments where you either, I'm gonna sound like such a Gen Z, but where you either crash out or you lock in, right? You can just, where everything goes through, like the beginning of a movie. Yep. And then as I've had those moments in my life where that happens, that maybe it's just the recreating of trauma. It's just all right, we're right here. Yeah. That's where. Yeah, maybe it's not about winning, but trying to, because you at a high school level don't control the talent that's in front of you. No. So how do you create those moments? Because maybe you can't create the winning, but how do you create the performative aspects that winning gives you and losing gives you too, like losing hard games. I personally think I remember losing games we should have won more than winning games that we weren't supposed to win.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I think the biggest thing is when you're building a program from the ground up, you have to be sold out on what role winning has in that. So for me, I'm a firm believer that winning is the consequence or the reward for the hard work that you put into building the culture. And I know culture is such a overused term, but that's really what it is. it's from top to bottom. So like for us, we're involved with everything from K2.
I was going to ask, are you pretty much allowed to cast vision and even like philosophy, like even just to the, like, I don't know if you're a big motion man type person, or like, are you able to cast a lot of that vision from the ground up?
Yeah. So last year obviously was my first year back.
Yeah.
And so, but in my first year back, I met with all of our youth basketball. So my brother runs the Fayette Falcon Elite Youth Basketball Program. And so obviously that relationship allows me to have access to them. Regardless, if it wasn't him, I would still insist that I have access to them. So, but like from K2, when we do little kids basketball, there are things that we speak into them that we want to make sure that they're teaching fundamental wise. And so all the volunteer coaches that do that, they're gracious enough to make sure that they're emphasizing that stuff. Then when they get to third grade basketball, it's when they start competing in leagues and that kind of stuff. And so from third through sixth grade, there are some things that I ask them to on the boys' side, like please make sure you're playing man-to-man defense.
Teaching zone at a young age.
I understand that you could go play a 1-2-2 zone or a 2-3 zone and collapse everybody into the paint and go win most of your games.
And win. See, that's where it's the flip-flop at the younger age, where like, I actually don't care if you went undefeated.
Nobody remembers what your record was when you went.
You played zone, and this one girl hit puberty before everybody else.
The only time that you get beat in those moments is if you run into an anomaly that can knock down a 3-ball when they're third.
I grew up playing against Travis Jorgensen.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Is it Travis?
I remember the name.
Oh, yeah. From Harrisburg, and then I think he went on to play Georgia Tech.
Yeah, So I mean, just things like that. And in regards to what we do offensively, like we're a big. My philosophy, I'm a big read and react guy.
Okay.
So it's based on continuity, and it's based on making reads from what the defense is doing, and that's what you make your decision on offensively. So some people would call it motion offense, but we do not have a ton of X's and O's and like you make this pass and then you go make this cut or this screen. Yeah. What we teach is that you're going to read what the defense does. So if you're coming off let's say that you're coming off a pin down or a zoom screen. Now I'm getting really into it, but like
I'm with you.
You come into those things and the defense is behind you. Right. What is your read? Well, your read is you curl the screen.
Right.
Because he can't follow you. You got him beat. So you make a 45 and you go get a layup. Yep. And so we teach, and which has been a big shift for our guys because they've never been taught. The read has always been from a young age. It's like you make this pass, you go to this place, you make this cut, you make this screen, and so they become robots, not basketball players, because they get to a place where they just go on to the next thing to check off the to-do list rather than making the read and becoming a basketball player where you have to react to what the read is.
Yeah, you got to be smarter. Yeah. I mean, I remember motion offense was what Kendrick gave to me in high school, and I just remember going, oh, man, because I at least had my brain. My body wasn't super there, but, like, understanding, like, oh, going over, under, and then this is when your big is going to be open if they do this on a screen and that kind of thing. Just that reading, and that's where when do you think, like, that kind of learning comes in for kids? When does the understanding of the game need to start happening?
Yeah, I think it has to start happening when they're in third and fourth grade.
Yeah. You think that's when they can start understanding it?
I think that's when you teach the game in a way in which they can grasp it.
Sure.
They're never going to... I have third graders right now that if they were to come into our high school system, they would know some of our terminology. They would understand that they're doing this because this happened defensively. So... we're not giving them the whole load as their third graders, but at the same time, we're teaching them how to respond to defense.
Yeah.
But
I think ideally they would come up to high school knowing all the terminology.
That's the goal.
Because I remember in baseball, we actually had so much whiteboard time in my little league team of situational stuff that, like, when I got into actual, like, school ball, I knew all of it, and none of my other teammates knew what do you do when in this situational play. So ideally you can create that, and I hope that you could run a program long enough that you can install that through all the levels too. And obviously, know that's hard because you probably aren't involved in every hiring decision all the way up and down, right?
It's hard to say at this point in time because I've only been here for a year, but I will say this: like, I was asked we hired a new head middle school coach this year, and so Before that hire was made, there was some conversations
Who's that?
Tommy Phillips just got hired as our middle school.
I coached him, believe it or not, for like a year.
Tommy Phillips just got hired as our middle school head coach. And so before those hires are made, there are conversations that obviously I don't get to make the final say, but I'm grateful to be in a district and working with people who value my opinion on the matter too. So, but my staff is incredible. And when I say my staff, I'm talking about not just the people that work for the school. I'm talking about all the volunteers, all the dads, all the moms who volunteer out of their time, because ultimately it's a team effort. And so, but yeah, we have a meeting with our youth basketball program at the beginning of every year. And I walk in and I'm like, please do these things because they're core components of what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And of course, as they get older, we add a little more. But my nephew Gage, he'll be a 5th grader this year. So they just played in the Show Me State games. And so there are things that we're teaching them, language, terminology that we use that they'll carry on with them and they'll know coming into middle school. And so, when we tell a 5th grader, hey, look for the EPA, they know that we're talking about the early pass ahead. We want to get the ball out ahead. You can't outrun the basketball, so get the ball up the floor as quickly as you can with the pass so that then we can make the read on what the defense is going to do and adjust accordingly. So, or DHO, we do a lot of stuff out of our offenses with dribble handoffs. And so they know a lot of that terminology, so that when we're in a game situation and we tell Gage, who gets a rebound, hey, look for the EPA, he knows to get his eyes up to see what's happening in front of him. And so we're able to teach those kinds of things at the youth level so that we're not having to start from ground zero when they get to middle school or high school. And then when you get to middle school, they're running the same stuff that we're running, using the same terminology. Now, they're not running it to the level or the complexity that maybe we'll run it when they get to high school, but they're running the same kind of principled offenses. They're doing the same thing to fit our strategy and our system defensively. And so our objective is that when a kid gets to high school as a freshman, we've done everything we can to give them a foundation that can be built upon instead of us having to start over every single year.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think it seems like the winning part or tasting success really probably starts to matter in middle school more too. And another thing I'm reminded as you're talking too is just like being able to have coaches from the bottom up who are like, they want to get it right. They don't need to be right, but they want to get it right.
Yeah.
Like you could play a bunch of zone. I don't know when they let you play zone or stop playing zone, or is there even rules as a kid?
The youth leagues that they play in, there are no rules, and so you
can play zone in a youth league.
We see it all the time. We see it. In fact, we probably see it more often than not.
That is dumb. For the cameras, that is dumb.
Yeah.
Because somebody's gonna win. Mm-hmm. I could not tell you how many games we did or did not win when I was in CYBA in Columbia.
Yeah.
I remember my Aunt Jackie teaching me how to listen with my eyes. That's one of the main things I remember. And triple threat. Triple threat from 4th grade. But do you feel like right now from the bottom up you have a collaborative staff that while they may not have every idea that you have, they can at least look at what's in front of them and go, this is the best kind of thing to run for them at the moment? Specifically like Tommy, because I know he's got a different background in coaching, because he's coached a little bit already.
Oh yeah, so he's been an assistant at the college level.
Yeah,
was he at
Moberly?
He came to us from Columbia Battle. So he was with Coach Pallardy at Battle.
Yep.
And so he comes with a lot of coaching experience, a lot of different philosophies, and who's really, really smart at the game of basketball in and of himself. And so in a situation where a guy comes to you like that, he no doubt is gifted enough to be able to run a program with his own stuff, with his own philosophies, with his own X's and O's. But to have a guy to come onto our staff that understands the big picture of like, what is the end goal here? The end goal is to make these kids as close to set up for success in high school when they get there. And so I'm grateful for a staff that from top to bottom, all the way down to our youngest teams, understand that the bigger picture here is what we're doing is not for right now. It's for when they get to high school. We just talked about that with the 5th grade group that was at the Show Me State games. Like the frustration of losing a game to a team that went on and won the Show Me games, that stings, and we want it to sting. Like we want you to feel that. But at the same time, we also want to remind you, like, why are we here? We're not at the Show Me State games so that we could say that we played in the Show Me State games when you were 5th graders. We're at the Show Me State games so that you're playing tough competition.
Yep.
the team that beat them was a team that was made up of kids from all different schools, large schools. There's a team out of Kansas City, traveling team that's been playing all summer long. And here we are, a bunch of little small town kids from the same school playing basketball together. We're doing this not for right now.
Yeah.
We're doing this for that when 4 years from now you come in as freshmen. The butt kicking that you just took is not what you're giving those out when you're in high school. And so that's the kind of philosophy
until some tiny little town in southern Missouri with 5'2" dudes.
Hartville,
just
right?
Was it Billings that would do that?
Billings was good.
Yeah, Billings would, you'd think you're all good, and then 5 white dudes who only 5 of them just cook you out in the playoffs because they're good. What is it about Southern basketball, you think? Because Southern Missouri basketball seems to be better.
I think the gap has closed over the years, but that certainly was the case. So when I was here in the early 2000s, I purposefully took my kids to Southern Missouri for camps.
Yep.
We would go to Branson every year and play.
I remember going to Missouri State.
Yeah. And they at that point in time, my experience was they just played a different brand of basketball. When I moved,
they seemed healthier too.
Yeah, I moved
Less
when I moved to
aspartame.
Central Missouri in the early 2000s. It was amazing to me how slow paced the game was.
Right.
And so the reason why I intentionally took them to Southern Missouri is because everybody pressed, everybody ran, everybody was just
everything.
Full throttle.
Yeah.
And that's the way I wanted to play.
Yeah.
The way I wanted my guys to play. And so we went down there and intentionally played a lot of really good teams. And it was not to see how good we were or weren't. It was because I wanted them to see this style of basketball and to force them to play that style of basketball. And it yielded a lot of really good fruit, in the early 2000s for sure. But now I think the gap is closed a little bit. I mean, you look at the teams that were in the Final Four, a lot of Central Missouri teams in that. And, the state champion in 2A basketball came out of our conference. And so
who was that?
Eugene. I mean, really, really good basketball team, and it'll be really, really good again.
They're in
this
class
year.
2?
Yeah, they're class 2. And so, it's that gap is closed a little bit, and you don't see so much of a discrepancy. We still got teams in our conference and in our district that are just diehard zone teams. Like we know that, when we go play this team, they're going to play a 1-2-2.
Salisbury's still playing the 1-3-1.
They mix it up a lot more than maybe what they used to in the early 2000s. But I mean, they still are really dangerous in the 1-3-1 that they play, or they extended out 1-2-2.
That's how historic that is. That's what
everybody
remember.
knows that when they go to that, everybody's like, okay, here it comes. Like you expect it. Like we scout for it.
Yeah, we scout for it. We talk about it all week, and then we still pee our pants when the point guard gets across half court.
And historically, they're really good at it because they've always got long, lanky, athletic kids. Yeah. Yeah, and that'll be no exception again this year.
Maybe did they either had extra fluoride or took it out over there?
I don't know.
I don't know.
They got good genetics over there. That's part of it. So.
Yeah, a lot of that's just kind of luck of how you develop too. But I don't know. I think sports is so important. I think that's why I'm interested in it, talking to you and talking to Andy and talking to whoever else would come on. Probably talk to Tommy at some point too. But just like sports are such I don't think it's the most important thing to my development, but it's a huge part of it. Like you don't have to play sports as a kid to be a great human later on, or to know what work ethic is. Because I also was like the choir kid, and I was also the band kid, and tasted success and those kind of things too. So I think that's maybe where the focus needs to be, is bringing out, like, letting people taste what was the word I used? Maybe like just their best performance, instead of necessarily winning the whole thing. But man, I loved marching band because we were so daggum good at it. Like, I think my class was one of the most successful of all time. We had 2 sweepstakes and a dumb amount of trophies.
But what I love about our band program here is you look at how hard they work to do it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, my daughter is in band right now, and I mean,
she's sweating it out in first hour.
It's 100 bazillion degrees outside, and they're there from 5 to 9. And so you look at the amount of hard work that those kids are committed to.
Yeah,
you got kids who work all day. They go home, grab a dinner that they prepared the night before, eat it on the way to band camp, go to band camp until dark, come home, go to bed, wake up, wash, rinse, and repeat.
Yeah.
And the number of hours that those guys put into that is it speaks volumes to their success level. And what I think a lot of people struggle to recognize is that if you want to be that good at something, that's how hard you have to work at it.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about sports. And I mean, there are individuals in life that the hand that they've been dealt requires that they learn how to overcome hard things.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
But sports is one of the few things that you can choose to participate in that will teach you a similar lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And until you learn that lesson, like there's room for people who just want to do it because it's fun. There's room for people who, they want to just be a part of a team. Like that's okay. But if you truly want to be the best, if you want to be the team that everybody hates because you win every single year, that's the level of effort that it takes to do it. And
and I think coaches have to know that. I think that's maybe where some of the disconnect is too. Like, is they would rather go for the wins than show, like, actually, because I remember when it hit me was hanging out with Jaden Cox, and I was like, oh, it's not that I'm certainly not his genetic makeup, but like not even that. I don't have the willingness to eat like that. I don't have the willingness to work out that much. Olympian, obviously, but I remember just even seeing that difference at Central when I was trying to play baseball, and I was like, we were working out with the football team and conditioning with them, and I was like, I don't have that. And then I physically didn't have to have. After a month, my body was like, you're done, dude.
And what I'm learning now as the father of a kid who's going on to play college sports is like, even the kids who did it at a high level in high school, they have this light bulb moment where they realize they get handed their summer workout that they're responsible to do before they get to school. And I mean, it's a whole nother level. So,
and you'll get cut if you don't.
Yeah. Like if you don't do those workouts, your coaches will know.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those situations where I think that the disconnect, everybody looks at the win-loss record and,
that's probably what they hire on too.
I think sometimes, for sure. But like, I think that so many people look at a record and that's the measurement of success for them. But what they don't know for a lot of coaches is what we have to work the hardest at is making our guys understand that if you want to get better, if you want to be better than you were yesterday, if you want to have a better season than you had last year, it requires that you get your butt in and you do the work.
Yeah.
And that means that you have to come lift when you don't want to lift.
Yep.
You have to go shoot 1,000 shots when you don't want to shoot 1,000 shots.
Yeah.
You can't just pick up the ball in November, lay it down in March, and then pick it back up again in November and expect to be different than you were the year before.
Yep.
And that's the hardest part for coaches because we live in a society that makes things pretty easy.
Yeah.
Kids don't get bored like they used to. And so it's the work ethic that makes the difference.
And I'll say this for your boys that you're about to have. Like, one of my biggest regrets is not, like, I became a significantly better athlete post high school. I didn't lift. I mean, and some of that could have been coaching, that nobody had me thinking about my body or thinking about, what I could be.
Sure.
Because it maybe was so focused on the win-loss column. But man, like, if you will be rewarded by the work your body is excited to reward you with what you're going to do in the weight room.
Yep.
That transformation for how your guys' age is awesome.
Yeah.
Do it.
Well, and one of the things that we teach our guys all the time, like right now, one of the things that we point to is like, I'm mindful of a game that we had last year with Tipton, who's in our conference. Really close game, a game that I think we probably could have won. But the difference in that game was not that Tipton was better at us than basketball. The difference is that Tipton is bigger, faster, and stronger.
Yeah.
And, you look at a school like Tipton who is known for the level of commitment their students put into off-season programming. And
smaller than Fayette, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And, they got 50 or 60 kids every single day in the summer who's in the weight room. And so their program is known, like everyone around them that knows the success that Tipton has had. It's built on hard work. Yeah. And yes, they have good athletes, but you go watch the film of that game and you're like, man, we didn't lose this game because we were not as good as them in basketball. It's because they were stronger than us. They pushed us off our spot. They rebounded better, like the things that happen from just being stronger.
Yeah.
And so we point back to that game a lot.
They have like no football, right? Or do they?
They do.
They do?
Yeah.
All right, no excuse.
Yeah, they were good in football last year too.
What's your thoughts on that? I've heard some people say, well, we should just get rid of, since we're not good at football, which I have no clue, I haven't followed, but we should just get rid of football. What are your thoughts on football at that level or our size? I don't know what the breaking point is, because I've heard some people say we just need to go to 8-man or we need to do this. I personally was like, I love the sport of football. I got hurt the most in the sport of football in the 1 year that I played. It was the start of my back problem. So what are your thoughts? I'm selfishly as a basketball coach, you're like, hey, let's just play basketball. But yeah.
I think football is unique in how it teaches toughness to kids. The whole those I've heard those comments too about, well, man, we should just go to 8-man footballs because our numbers are down or this, that, and the other. It's not that easy because 8-man football is completely decided upon your school enrollment.
Yeah.
And so
like, I don't think we want to be driving. I don't know how close all the other schools are that play 8-man, but they can't be that close.
well,
I'm sure they're all over.
honestly, it would be in a lot of ways easier to find games in 8-man football
Really?
because a lot of the schools, I mean, like Slater's 8-man football,
really?
Paris's 8-man
didn't know
football.
that.
So a lot of those schools that used to be rivalry games in football, some of those teams have gone to 8-man football.
Really?
So it's actually tougher to fill out a schedule right now
With
if you're
11.
11-man and it being a small school.
Wow.
That's why a couple years ago we drove to Houston 3.5
Jeez.
hours to play a
Yeah.
football game.
Oh,
And
that would-
so
I would be so sad to be riding that bus.
yeah, it was
Oh my
it was
gosh.
it was the road trip was brutal.
That makes me sad. I don't want to go to Houston right now in an air conditioned
So
car.
Houston was 15 minutes from my hometown, so I know that place
Hey,
well.
you just used an H. That's funny. When did you lose your H's? Was it when Trump became president?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't.
think it
I don't
was.
think I realized that I didn't pronounce my H's until I became friends with y'all, and you guys were like, "Say that again. Say that again." And
Like huge,
I became like the
huge.
dog that did tricks for treats. You know. So,
Yeah, we'd be like, say human, say human,
yeah.
human.
Yeah, but the football thing. I think the football thing is I'm pro football. Like I'm not, and like.
Yeah, because you're an American.
Right. Yeah. I think there's a level of toughness that exists when you have schools that play football. That, but there's no argument that schools that don't play football have the advantage when it comes to things like baseball. I mean,
Yeah, but like everybody I know from Glasgow is soft because they didn't play football. So
I don't know a ton of that crowd. So, but
I don't know. None of those guys probably listen to this
Yeah.
either because we're from Fayette.
but I mean, the at my school we didn't have football.
Yeah.
We didn't have football, and so I mean, even now they play fall baseball. So baseball schools love it.
Mhm.
You know, one of my best friends is the athletic director at Forsyth, and so they picked up football just a handful of years ago, and there was a lot of people who were real apprehensive about it, and I'm sure some baseball purists probably still hate it, but you talk to a lot of people in that community, they would tell you that it does something to a community. There's something about a Friday night football game that does something for your community.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of positives that come from it. And man, I love football. I'm hopefully one of the biggest fans of football. I want to see them succeed. And you know, my hope is that kids use that to get tougher. But at the same time, I hope they stay healthy so I don't have to worry about nursing them back from injuries either. So
Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, I want to talk a little bit about back to hunting and three-chord crossings.
Yeah.
Wearing the hat.
Yeah.
The website's not live yet, but tell me what it is, and then like I want to be involved. You know,
Yeah, man.
if we're shooting deer and
Absolutely.
talking about
So-
Jesus, is that what it is? But
So the way that I kind of describe it to people is that it's a community of like-minded people who are passionate about faith, family, and the outdoors. And so
faith, comma, family,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
outdoors, not
yeah.
the church, faith, family, and the outdoors.
right,
Got it.
faith, comma, family, comma, and the outdoors. So you know, one of the things that I love but also concerns me about small towns, growing up in a small town, so it's not just indicative to where we live now, but there's a level of privacy that people keep that I think can sometimes be good, but also it can isolate people. And what I mean by that is I am a firm believer that God's design for community is the healthiest way that we can do life.
Oh, yeah.
And so
it was the design,
right. And so a lot of people do their best to not. They want to avoid that at all costs for whatever reason. And so part of that is just to try to create a community, whether it's being online or otherwise, that of like-minded people that know that they hear our stories, they read the things that we put out on our blogs, they see our video content, they are a part of an event or whatever that makes them understand that there's something to be learned in every story, but also creates an understanding that they're not living this life alone. And so whether it's through an online community or whether it's in a community in their little corner of the earth. And so God put Three Chord Crossing on my heart probably 5 or 6 years ago. and it was one of those things where he kind of showed me the what it was going to look like logo wise, and it's obviously based off the verse in Ecclesiastes that talks about the power that's found in the three
It's
chords.
not obvious to me.
Right? Yeah.
It's like obviously the super well known verse in Ecclesiastes.
I mean, it's based on the verse that talks about a braid of three chords is stronger than one, and so it's the whole concept of that we're stronger together than we are alone, and so
you should write a song.
Probably
3 is better than 1.
Sounds like a New Kids on the Block song.
That's what is that? An old American? That's an old. Who are they? Not American. They sang the. Oh no! It's too late to apologize. Those guys. Yeah. Who is that? Sorry,
Google it.
I did the ADHD thing where I just completely go off course.
Timbaland.
No, it's American something.
One Republic.
Is it One Republic?
That may be One Republic, yeah.
But who wrote 2 is better than 1? 2 is better than 1. That's dude, my wife. Oh no, actually, thank you Google. It pulled up Ecclesiastes first.
There you go. Yeah.
It's by Boys Like Girls and Taylor Swift in 2009.
Oh jeez.
Who am I thinking of though? Too late to apologize. I'm sorry. We'll get back to this. Is by One Republic. There was an American. Who am I thinking of? Yeah, no, I know, but I'm thinking of. It's not American Gangster, but it's like a. They wrote some. They were like in that Fall Out Boy phase.
What has a song go?
Dude, I'm so lost right now.
I have no clue.
It's okay.
I'm not tracking.
You were like in your mid-20s during this time, and I was in my teen years. This is terrible content for the listeners out there and even the watchers. So I'm sorry about that. Anyway, so so what is it? I mean, so kind of birthed this idea of trying to create some community. Is it a blog?
Yeah, I think at a lot of levels we're still trying to figure that out.
Is it a blog?
Is blog material on the website. Okay. Yeah.
What else do you want to be on there?
So there's
Podcast?
Video content that's already on the website.
Like
or
what?
That will be.
What is it? You shooting deer?
Yeah, so there's a turkey hunt that we did with Kaleb when he was young that's on there.
Nice.
There is my brother Wes wrote, I don't know if you want to call it a narrative or what you want to write, but he wrote what was originally going to be a blog piece, and we turned it into a video piece, and then we narrated the blog stuff over the top of it.
He's not a guy who has a lot to say.
No, but he's an incredible writer.
And he does when he wants to talk.
When you're talking about a topic that he's passionate about, for sure.
Or if he wants to talk, period.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah.
He's incredibly gifted. He's got a lot of talents that a lot of people have never seen.
Yeah.
And so he wrote a narrative that we built a video off of.
Cool.
And then Josiah Key, who's also part of the Three Chord Crossing project that we're kind of working on, he recorded a hunt with me, a deer hunt that we went on last year. And so it's a broad stroke of a lot of things, but it's just kind of stories from a small town that hopefully my son Kaleb has written a couple. He wrote a really, really vulnerable piece about when my grandfather passed away. He was really close with him and talked about, how that impacted his life. And I mean, he passed away on my son's birthday and how that has impacted him at a very deep personal level. And so it's just one of those things where we share a lot of stories and relate them back to how it's impacted our faith. And we hope that it's just encouraging, that it's inspiring to people. There's a little bit of a community that's already been kind of starting to establish. And so
is it surrounded around hunting, or is it just that's what you guys kind of had in common? And because there's a deer antler on your hat.
Yeah. So there's a couple of stories about some of the deer that our buddy killed a deer that we called Ghost a couple years ago.
Yeah, I know.
And we had 5 years.
I know.
We had 5 years of encounters with that deer. 5 years of pictures. And
me too.
Yeah. And
they have land right next to us.
So it's so those kinds of stories. But
Kevin, that was Kevin, right?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna be mad at him.
Yeah,
he earned it.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
So it's just we haven't shared this with a lot of people, but like we have goals in 2026. We plan to release a devotional that is geared towards primarily fathers who are looking for ways to kind of help them have faith-based conversations with their kids.
Sure,
and so it'll kind of be built around this concept of the hunting seasons. And so we'll release this stuff in a context that hopefully is relatable to dads. One of the things that we're just doing real practically is like for guys, it's hard for busy guys, it's hard to dedicate 7 days a week. And so we're not doing the 7 days a week of devotional content. It's like we want to give you 3 or 4 a week that you can sit down and chew on. And if you're sitting in a deer blind with your kids, you can even go through that together
Yeah,
or
are you thinking
whatnot. So,
written, or are you thinking
right now, I think the devotional content will likely probably be digital. But
um like video or
no, it'll be like you pull it up and you're
yeah,
able to kind of go through it. But I do think that we have plans to maybe create a journal that is a tangible in-hand journal
sure,
that will kind of
sure.
have corresponding questions that help. I'm a big believer in journaling,
Hmm.
and it's really changed my life in a lot of ways. And so I think that to give somebody a actual journal that they can journal their thoughts, or man, this conversation with my kid went like this, it allows them to go back and revisit what God's doing in that relationship. And so yeah, we've got some pretty cool plans in 2026. We have some friends who are connected to what we're doing who have also thrown out ideas about doing like hunting retreats for dads and their kids, where you go hunt in the
Yeah.
morning, do some intentional activities and kind of discipleship kind of stuff,
Yeah.
relationship growth things in that environment. Because I mean, you like hunting a little bit too. I mean, there's nothing like it when you are in a deer camp or when you're sitting at a duck cabin, or the relationships that are formed in that setting for me are individuals that are truly my most trusted and loved friends. And that there's something about that experience for people who are passionate about that, that is life changing. And
Yeah.
so
And I
and
think you
really
get to a certain
rewarding.
point too where at least I have, and maybe it's because I'm super extroverted, but like hobbies and things that I love doing, I really don't like doing them alone. I
Yeah.
think there was times where I was like, and I think hunting's great for that, that if you just need a day in the stand or an afternoon in the stand, you go do it. But like now around golf, I'm not very good at golf, but I'm like, I'm not going to go golf alone,
Yeah.
And so hunting, I would love to, especially because it's so hard to make time to do stuff like that
Sure.
too. And, I don't know how much churches are doing like the men's retreats out to go shoot skeet, but,
Mhm.
I think that's at a minimum, it's the role of Christian men to
Yeah.
create some of this stuff too. And I would come, especially like if it was a fishing one, because
Yeah.
that's a much more entry level activity
Yeah.
than hunting. But I also shot a coyote for the first time this last year.
Shoot them all, man.
Scared the dog out of me. Oh my god!
There's so many of them around here.
Oh
So
yeah. Well, they were tearing up our chickens.
yeah.
And so I mean, I've never done this before, and I think I can tell the story. I hope this doesn't upset anybody, but these coyotes are tearing up our chickens, and if you guys want eggs to cost less than $6, then let me shoot the coyotes. But I go and I just sit on a fence line, and I had just sighted in my my AR, and so I really wanted to take a piece
Yeah.
at it,
Yeah.
and so I just set up in this fence line, and I just start hitting this mouse call, and I kind of see it over the ridge, and I see it come, so I'm getting ready, and it pops up like maybe like 50 yards in front of me,
Yeah,
and
they're
then just
sneaky, dude.
locks in with me.
Yeah.
This thing's a wolf at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like when it's
Yeah.
that close, you're like,
A werewolf.
and so dude, I was just so yeah, let it rip.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell me more about it.
Yeah, so I think that it's just built on community and giving guys and families, really. It's not just even fathers, it's
Yeah.
families, the resources to have faith-based conversations. And it's really vulnerable look into our lives, when we write the blog content and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And we're okay with that. And hopefully it encourages somebody to have a conversation about something that's hard in their life, and so but some of the additions that are coming to the website that we're getting ready to push out here in the next month or so is, you'll be able to get stuff like this on the website. And I think that there's something cool about coming across somebody in your hometown that's wearing this, that
Yeah.
you're like, man, yes, like we're in this together kind of thing. It's not a ploy to make money or anything like that. It's just it's a way to have something that we can identify each other by and say, yeah, man, we're like, I'm praying for you because I know that this is important to you too,
Yeah, I hope our community can get more that way too. As like a business owner here, man, I'll just be honest. When I see somebody wearing a shirt that says Logan Ball on it, I'm like, hey, you're not too proud to wear somebody else's
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
And we haven't necessarily sold, Henry stuff out in public yet, but I am planning on developing a little bit of a clothing line
Yeah.
purely around kind of some Henry stuff. I have this really good. Somebody's gonna steal this if I say it out loud. I'm not saying my T-shirt ID because it's really good. I'll tell you off camera.
Yeah.
But I love that. I hope
Well,
that more for the
I was really
community.
resistant to the whole product thing. Like I'm
Yeah.
like I'm not an apparel line, but
And you're not going to make money
I've
off
had
of it.
some no,
Hardly
and
at all.
I've had some friends that like it's not about that. Like it's about giving somebody the opportunity to feel like they're a part of something, and I love that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And so, well, this hat will be for sale. We'll have a camo version of this hat that'll be
Yeah.
for sale, and it's not going to be a lot of different things, but there'll be truck decals that like you can get put on the back of your truck window and that kind of stuff. But
I think it's the same feeling we get when we walk into the gym and we see like the person we've seen there
yeah,
before, and we're like, "Hey,
it's community.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
we're
it's just
doing it."
community. And
Yeah,
the other piece that we're really excited about is that there's a booking page that'll like individuals and that are having men's events or having a an outdoor festival of some kind that want us to come, or like a hunting or outdoor expo who just want us to come and kind of talk about what we do with food plots or what we do with that kind of stuff. How the kind of the connections that we have. Like if somebody wants to talk about how to set up a bow, like, well, I don't know that I could be really helpful, but I got relationships with guys that can,
yeah.
and so it's that whole concept. And then there's a piece where if they want us to come lead worship at an event, we'll be happy to do that. And so,
Well, so I'm curious. Like, I'm seeing a lot of stuff like this develop, and I know we need to wrap up, but I'm seeing a lot of stuff develop, like what you're talking about, where what used to be in place of that? Because I feel like you're reconnecting, like you're trying to create something that has existed.
mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, who used to run that? What you're trying to do, was it, and whose responsibility was it? Was it church, and church was so integrated that you knew who your people were there and you did that kind of stuff? I don't know if you've talked or seen what the Innises are up to with Missouri.
Yeah, I've been kind of watching that. I'm a
Yeah,
little
I
familiar with what
talked
they're doing
with
for
Dakota
sure.
a little
Yeah,
bit, but like,
yeah,
I'm like, cool idea, but I'm like, when did that disappear?
yeah.
Like, what do
Why
you
is
think
this necessary to do this? Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, I don't know that I know the answer to that question. I think that over time, we certainly have seen a decline in some of those things. I don't know where the breakdown is,
Yeah.
but
Could be just social
when I
media.
left full time ministry, which we didn't even talk about that story, but like because that's an incredible story how God brought me through that 18 months
Yeah.
section there. But when I left full time vocational ministry and I stepped back into
The
this
second time. Yep.
into
Just
that as in like last
last year.
year,
Yeah.
yeah. So I came to the realization that when you're not working full time in a church and you are actively pursuing the things and relationships with people who are passionate about the same things that you're passionate about. So for me, it would be basketball, hunting, being outdoors, my family, Henry's ice cream. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, there's a large group of people that you will do life with, or that you should choose to do life with, that you would have never had access to in a church setting.
Hmm.
They would never come through the doors of your church. That does not make them wrong or the church wrong. That's not what I'm getting at all. It's that there are just a group of people that if you live life intentionally, you live life with people who you would have never encountered in a church setting.
Yeah.
And I'm
So
learning
that to me, that's irrelevant to whether you worked at church or not, right?
100%. Yeah, that's not connected at
Sure.
all. But it just happens that I came to a better understanding and a better revelation of
Yeah.
that. And so that's what this is designed to do. It's designed to create relationships that are not designed to make anybody uncomfortable. It's not to force our beliefs on anybody else. It's to live life intentionally with people and give access to our lives to other individuals, so that whether it's to learn something or to be encouraged by it, but it's to above all things to build relationships with people, because there will be a moment in life when you need a tribe,
Yeah.
you need a family, and what I'm learning is even in the basketball community, in the basketball kind of realm, the three-chord realm, like all this stuff, it's building relationships with individuals that otherwise I would not have had access to.
Yeah.
And it's just been intentional to do it. And
Yeah.
I know I don't even know if that makes any sense. It makes
Oh, it
sense in
does.
my
I mean,
mind,
I
but
think there needs to be more of the things that are okay with creating something that. I think this is maybe one tiny thing I appreciated between London and here was it didn't feel like they worshiped. I never saw the same restaurant twice. I never saw multiple locations. They didn't seem to worship like prophet. And I think that's some of my heart and what I'm hearing you say, like even just behind my podcast of like, I'm okay if my audience is 10% of Fayette,
Yep.
I think for the people who see this, they might feel a little less alone. And that there's somebody, in their community that's talking about how they feel, and we might feel the same way or not. But like, I'm not creating any content, and you guys aren't living your life any different.
No.
You're not trying to captivate attention. You're actually, I think for me, I'm really just trying to, like, I think this is one of my best versions of being able to love on other people.
Yeah.
Is getting to know them and helping them be known. And I hope that makes our community feel a little bit tighter too. And I think, I'm sure plenty of people have had an idea to do something like that, or a podcast, but they're like, or a business in Fayette. And they're like, well, it's not, I don't know if this town can support it. I don't know if this can this. And I know there's like serious financial things that are involved in all pieces of business, but just being willing to define, like, I don't know. I think lots of times when we cast vision for things, we like think of the next 100 years, and life expectancy says that I have 40 left.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think one of the things that I just recently, we took a group of students to church camp a couple weeks ago, and that's supposed to be for the students, right?
Sure.
I remember night one,
probably wrecked you.
The pastor he delivered this thought that I thought was like, it was an arrow designed straight for me, and it was this concept of like, stop asking God what it's going to look like before you do it, but instead ask God, what is the next step? And that's what Three Core Crossing has been for me the last several years. It's been my hesitation to do anything with it, because I can't in fullness describe what it's going to be or what it's going to look like.
Right.
And I feel like God in that moment, this last month, has just been like, stop asking me what it's supposed to look like, and I just want you to take the next step.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're trying to do at this point in time. And obviously we have things that we would like to accomplish in the next couple of years, and maybe kind of continue to build onto it. But I just, at this point in time, my heart is to just be obedient, to stop asking what it's going to look like, and just be faithful and take the next step.
Be in that moment. I think part of, maybe we can wrap up, like, I think maybe where you and I struggle is being kind of that out of body and watching our movie, like we're like watching our lives like it's a movie.
Yeah.
And I think where the Lord has challenged me through all the stuff that we've gone and completely reshaping what I thought my life was going to look like and what my kids' lives were going to look like, and just going like, we're here right now.
Yep.
And I do think men and competitive men and Christian men do need to be marching forward with strength, but at the same time, not trying to direct this movie. We're not the director, And I love hearing that. If I can be involved, let me know. We're definitely, Cody and I are definitely going to film me hunting at some point this spring. And people will see just how bad I am at hunting. Because I don't like to hunt in a stand, for everybody, just so everybody knows.
Are you a ground hunter?
I am a ground hunter. And by the way, there was a time in my life, folks, where I was going to like live on a cabin with no electricity out on the farm. And I was known for like being able to get from me to you to animals. Yeah. I was even like entertaining like spear hunting and like knife throwing hunting. There was a version of me that existed there. And then I realized if that version of me existed, I'd probably be pretty lonely. Nobody's really going to buy into that.
You're a relational guy. You probably wouldn't have made it in that setting too long.
I think there was maybe some dark years mentally where I was like, I think I'm just going to go hole up.
Yeah.
I think that impulse exists for at least every man, by the way.
Oh, for sure.
The impulse to just like, I've heard it, like the impulse to either go serve in the army,
you're right,
or just be like, I'm going to go build a kid. Like, you've probably been caught like watching those videos at like 1 a.m. where these guys are building adobes out of rocks in India.
Sure. Are you familiar with the TV show Alone?
I'm familiar with it.
So they grab these contestants and they send them off to these remote places by themselves. Yeah. And the objective is you win if you're allowed to survive. Well, and then it turned into the most days. So if you can out survive everyone else.
Yes.
And you're by yourself with very limited resources. And so, I used to watch that show religiously.
Andy and I wept. There was one contestant who just crushed it. I can't remember his name, but he called like, he would call like Rock House. I don't know if you remember this dude. We'll have to look it up. But he gets to like, he's still surviving and trying to survive the longest. And he's had this squirrel that's lived with him for a long time, and he kills it and eats it. And Annie is just in the corner in the couch, just like, kill the squirrel.
Some of the stuff those guys ate, man, that's nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Mice.
People would, don't know if anybody died on that, but they
there were some
certainly
people got real sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that impulse exists. So, well, I'm excited I'm sure you'll share all that stuff when it comes out.
Yeah,
things
absolutely.
like that. And,
yeah, we've been working on it really hard the last couple months, and I got some guys who are really, really excited about
Aaron
it.
Bentley
And Aaron
involved in
Bentley,
that?
Wes is part of it.
Yep.
Aaron Bentley, Josiah is a part of it, and
Cool.
then Kaleb has been a real contributor in the blog portion and that kind of stuff. And he still has a desire to do what he can now that he's leaving for school. But yeah, it's just a small group of guys that are just really passionate about what we do in this life and making it matter.
Yeah.
So
that's good. Anything else you wanted to cover?
No, man,
that
we covered
didn't
a
talk
wide
about?
variety of
we were
stuff,
all
man,
over,
for
man.
sure.
Christian music to
favorite movies to
basketball.
Basketball. Yeah, we talked about a lot of stuff.
You got any? Do we need to have like a autocorrect portion where you come out at the end and be like, "Yeah, actually, that was very wrong." But the conclusion today is that Top Gun 2 is just Magic Mike.
That is
Military
your conclusion.
Magic Mike.
I don't know that I'll ever be able to watch that movie.
That
again,
is the title of this episode.
I mean, like they probably have their shirts off.
Don't make this the title of it. Don't make that the title. No one will watch this.
They probably have their shirts off more than normal in that movie, right?
Well, yeah, probably so.
I'm just gonna put a shirtless Miles Teller in the thumbnail,
or just edited him right here, in,
Just
in the
thumbnail.
Us,
yeah. My gosh,
get some name image likeness going on. Oh, last thing I was curious on. Do you know anything about open enrollment in the school district yet?
No, so okay. I'm still learning about that stuff.
It's coming.
It's constantly being debated amongst state legislatures for sure. So there's a large contingency of people who are working real hard for open enrollment, which it's marketed by the idea of parents having the choice to send their kids to a school if the school district that they live in is, in the parent's opinion, not educating their child adequately or effectively. So,
which the education focus, I can understand to a degree.
Well, I think the problem with a lot of it is like, a lot of and here we go, Jason. Like this is a great conversation that I get involved in all the time. But like a lot of the educational choices that are made in the state of Missouri and really nationally are made with the large school district in mind.
Sure.
So you're talking about things that are going to directly impact and decisions that are being made because of what's happening in St. Louis, Kansas City. And so I get that, and that those schools obviously matter. Those students matter for sure. But I think what happens is historically what I have seen is that decisions have been made with them in mind, and it hurts the small school. And so I just hope that as they continue to debate it and that kind of stuff, they think with that filter. Because not everything that they do for Kansas City schools who are struggling to stay accredited because they perform poorly, or that they struggle to hire teachers because they're concerned for whatever.
Or even the district zonings don't make sense.
Right, yeah. So like I just hope that as they make those decisions, they understand and that they operate with the context that those decisions will directly impact us, and it's not always a positive impact.
No.
And what'll be interesting for me is if they do get to a place where it's open enrollment. I think it's probably a matter of time, but how are they going to police that athletically?
Right. That's where I'm saying, like, I can understand some of the motivation, like especially just in the size of schools, specifically around even special education too, and just like your student to teacher ratio. I can understand some of the good.
Sure.
It's gonna turn into a recruiting and move your kid to most successful program show.
Yeah, it's going to create a lot of nightmares. And
what's the Misha rule now on transferring? Do you have to sit a year still?
It depends on the situation. Like you have to be able to prove that your move was not for athletic purposes.
Interesting.
I want to be careful not to put myself in a position to get in trouble by any means. Or I think the problem is that there are moments that is selectively.
Oh sure, yeah.
The big.
You mean somebody's not perfectly objective?
The big thing in the news lately in Southern Missouri has been Nixa, #1 football recruit in the nation, attends. He'll be a senior this year, I believe, in Nixa, and so he's already committed to go to Miami.
Wow.
And the big thing in sports news down there lately has been that there is a football player that has transferred in. Mm-hmm. From another school who rushed, I think, for like 1,500 yards or something.
Is that a
crazy?
lot?
That's a lot in 6A football.
I don't know.
But they transferred into the Nixa school district, and so obviously these people are like, oh, how can that happen? Like, I don't know the story behind it. I don't know if mom and dad got jobs and moved into the Nixa community or what. Like, there's probably a story that nobody knows. But you have a lot of those types of situations that are happening now. School districts that are, hiring people in their district, and it just so happens that they have a very talented, gifted athlete to come in, and I think that
do the athletics in public schools really drive that much revenue for that to be worth it? Or is it purely a pride thing of like, we want to win state? Like, I have a question. If you win state, do you get X amount of dollars?
not to my knowledge.
I don't think so.
Now that happens at high level college.
Oh yeah, sure. But I just mean public education.
No.
So I'm just curious if it's worth. Is it really worth it? Maybe this goes back to our like, how important is winning?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, what are you teaching? What are you teaching kids? What are you teaching the?
Well, you're teaching them you can like bail out to go to the next thing, and
I think what's going to be
not related to any specific situation,
right?
But
Yeah,
the transfer culture, especially in college, is just teaching you. For the most part, you don't like your situation, you can change. Which I love that American idea, but as like developing young men, I'm like, you might be worth sitting in that one for.
Yeah, well, everything runs downhill, right? And so, and everybody ascribes. Any athlete watches Division I, Power 5 basketball and or football or whatever that is. And so, yeah, we've created a monster here with the transfer portal and all that, and the NIL monies and all that stuff, which is like loyalty is now out the window.
Right.
Like there is gone are the days of the storylines where an individual comes in as a walk-on, redshirts his first year, and then turns himself into a starter in year 4. Like that doesn't happen anymore.
But everybody's pointing the finger at each other, where the same students who transfer go, the coach who just recruited me just got fired.
Yeah. Yeah. And it happens at every level. Like, I mean, Kaleb's playing NAIA basketball, right? And so
it's going to happen
the way that they recruit now is driven by the transfer portal. They go find people that are in the portal. They try to find people. Now, I don't think that the transfer portal in and of itself exists at the NAIA level. I don't know how that works there.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that NAIA coaches are going to the transfer portal and looking for the guy who was unhappy for his situation, so he comes back in. So it's changed everything, and I think that everything runs downhill. And so you got some. I'm not saying that all situations are like this, but you got some situations where you got a player in a larger school district that's unhappy with the fact that they don't play, so they find a smaller community where the parents can commute and still work there and they go to the smaller school. Like that's a real thing. Yeah. And I think that the interesting thing with open enrollment's going to be, and again, I'm not fully educated in it, so I don't know how it all works, but even if they do their best to try to police that and say that open enrollment, you're going to choose to go to that school because you think it's a better school, when in all reality, you're going there to play because they're a better team or whatever. That's going to be nearly impossible to police, regardless of how they think they're going to be able to police it. Because the reality of the matter is like, if I have a kid who I can recognize at 4th or 5th grade has got some natural ability, I'm going to have the foresight to be able to say, okay, I'm going to do this now.
Oh, sure.
So that he's got 4 years in this school district before he even gets to high school.
That's crazy.
And for people to think that that's probably not some of the thought processes that are going on now, they would be naive.
Like, there's usually like Alabama commits that are committing when they're freshmen. Like, absolutely, we can you can see in 4th, 5th grade who's going to have raw talent and who isn't.
Yeah,
you just can.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen often where you got kids that young that are getting offers. But like, for example, there's a kid, I think he'll be a junior this year in Southwest Missouri, who's got like 20 some odd Division I offers as a sophomore.
Yeah,
going into his junior year, and so you can't tell me that family didn't have some kind of an idea that he was going to be that level of an athlete. Again, by the way, a kid who's incredibly hardworking. Yeah, I've seen some of his behind the scenes work things that he put in,
and then trying not to be. Trying to be curious instead of judgmental. If I'm putting myself in the parents' shoes, I'm like, oh, if this kid might do this and make money, I want to go put him in the most opportune situation.
Playing against the best talent.
Hard.
Yeah.
Man, that's hard.
It's a delicate balance for sure. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's where we wanted to end, but at the end of the day, Yeah, I don't know how we wanted to end that, but Three Chords Crossing isn't live yet, the website.
No, so it'll get pushed out probably, I'm guessing, either into August or 1st of September. So
anything you want to say to the community around from like the basketball coaching perspective, what you need or what you want? Come out to the games, obviously.
I think it's important. I think it's important for all of us to when we have the opportunity to just remind each other that we chose to live here on purpose. Like this is a place that we all chose to be. And so I think that for my family, I mean, we're Fayette transplants, right? Growing up in South Missouri, Steph growing up in Kansas City, like we didn't grow up here, but we chose to raise our family here on purpose. And we just want to see what's best for this community, for our kids. And that's how I'm going about my job as the head boys basketball coach here in Fayette. Like we're doing everything that we can to raise really, really good young men. And hopefully as we continue to build the program, win a few basketball games along the way. And I think our job as small community people is to do everything we can to support one another to succeed in whatever it is we're doing.
Yeah.
So,
and this is a good place to live, folks. We got
love it. Absolutely.
We got it's hot here, but we've got Lafayette coming back.
Yeah, I'm excited
Dairy
about
Queen's
that.
gone. We got a new barbecue burger place supposed to be coming.
Yeah.
Pretty decent ice cream shop. You need good insurance. You can do that here too.
That's right.
Pretty fun podcast. I'm having a good time. But no, I hope there's a way that we can make it back closer to Fayette for us too, for sure.
It's a great place to be. Yeah.
My 45-minute drive isn't super fun, but I do get Chick-fil-A whenever I want to. So my budget's terrible.
I don't get it as much as I want it. But.
Yeah. What's your go-to?
My go-to at Chick-fil-A, number one value meal, add pepper jack cheese.
So the sandwich.
So the Chick-fil-A sandwich.
So you order with the numbers.
Chick-fil-A sandwich, combo meal, large size sweet tea, pepper jack cheese.
Oh, yeah, the sweet tea.
And then a half a packet of honey roasted barbecue on my sandwich.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
You know exactly what's up there.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite ice cream at Henry's?
My go-to, I have two go-to orders depending on what I'm in the mood for. So my go-to order is the mocha Oreo shake.
That's a secret one.
Hard
just so
to beat
knows.
that. Yeah, I'm not sure I was supposed to publicize that.
No, that's fine. My wife gets it every time.
Yeah, so it's that's my go-to. Really, really good. Maybe the best milkshake I've ever had in my life. And I'm not saying that to toot your horn. Like it is.
I didn't make it.
Good.
Yeah.
But my ice cream order is usually half Oreo, half mocha.
Yep.
And I usually have them put the Oreo on the bottom.
Yes.
And the mocha on top.
You like the espresso chip or just the regular espresso?
I'll be honest, I like the espresso better than the espresso
you get the crunch
chip.
from the Oreo when you combo those two. If you're doing the espresso alone, I really love the chip because we make the chocolate chips like homemade too. So it's not, you're getting like a full crunch.
Yeah, I used to be strictly a cinnamon guy.
I remember that.
Yeah. And
the whole Friebe clan.
Man, it was awesome. Yeah. And then I kind of introduced that combination of the Oreo and the mocha. Man,
I'll be honest with everybody. I have had so much of it that it's not that I don't like it, but something happens in my brain where like right now I crave Henry's ice cream. And if I went to the window, I won't be able to pick.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm like, I want to have everything. It's like nothing stands out to me
separate,
right now. Yeah, I don't know. But so I went to Dairy Queen
Kaleb,
last night.
who was a slinger for you, right?
Yeah.
He got to the place where his favorite was just your plain vanilla.
Oh, dude.
Same.
Y'all gotta find the whole public can't do this, but if you're special and you see ice cream coming out of the machine, fresh out of the machine hits way different on all the flavors, hits way different than what it does frozen. So there's never a world where we could do just raw dog and straight out of the machine. Right. There's no world for that, but super, super good if you ever see it churning. Well, this podcast has been long enough, but I'm going to make it go longer by finishing with one of these questions.
Oh, you're good?
Yeah. I have this
I don't even know how long we've been going at this point.
At least 2 hours.
You guys are nearly 3 hours then.
Oh, we're not at nearly 3. Oh my
2
gosh.
hours and 40 minutes, yeah.
Let's make it go longer.
That's good.
If you could swap jobs with anyone for a day, who would it be and why?
Swap jobs with anybody for a day, who would it be and why? John Schreier comes to mind. He's the head coach at Duke University.
Oh, cool.
I would love to do that for a day.
Yeah.
Just storied basketball program. I was a huge Coach K fan, which a lot of people hate Coach K.
I love Coach K.
Dude,
Good
just
character.
a gifted leader.
Yeah.
Either him or I don't know, completely unpopular opinion. Probably Sean Ryan. Do you know who Sean Ryan is?
Podcaster, right?
Podcaster. Yeah. I'm not sure. Like, It's not a
What's his
faith-based
job?
podcast.
Well, he's
The
kind of
podcaster-
he's Christian though,
dude. His
isn't he?
faith journey's been awesome.
Yeah.
Like the last year and a half to watch, he's kind of just made himself very vulnerable in that regard.
Yep.
And the way that he has studied Christianity and really sought after the Lord has been really cool to watch.
Yeah.
But the reason why I pick him is because he speaks to some incredible human beings.
Yeah.
Like, and I find myself listening to his podcast. Like yesterday, I was mowing grass, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm listening to his podcast with the guy who created Coinbase.
Yeah.
And I'm not a crypto guy. I don't know anything about it. I've never even had a conversation about cryptocurrency. But for 4 hours, I listened to Sean Ryan and this guy talk about cryptocurrency.
Is that how long his went? 4 hours?
He's got podcasts that go that long all the time.
All right, we're good. We're fine.
So
Oh,
like
yeah.
the running
Stay south
joke,
of Rogan.
It's-
We're good.
A podcast is a long format. You're good.
right? Yeah. So it's he. You know, when his early podcast, it was a lot of military guys, which I'm passionate about hearing those stories. Love those guys. But then like the last year, he's been really into technology, entrepreneurs, and like just these guys who go out and just create things.
Yeah.
And you know, I've listened to some of those podcasts. The people he has on that show are brilliant, and they're captivating. And so to have
he had that
conversations
military
with those
guy
guys
that wrote Extreme Ownership.
Oh yeah,
Jocko. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's had so many guys on there.
We bought
and,
that book after.
Yeah,
listening to some
the
of
one I'm anxious to listen to, and not that this matters, but like he did one recently with Gavin Newsom,
Oof.
which they're so polarized. They come from so different polarizing places. Like I'm anxious to listen to that one just to experience the tension that existed in that room.
Dude.
But
It's kind of like, did you listen to Rogan and Bernie Sanders?
I did not.
Similar.
I haven't listened to a lot of Joe Rogan, which is honestly a surprise for me because he's really good friends with Steve Rinella.
Yeah.
And so listen to a lot of the Meat Eater podcast with that guy. But yeah, I've not listened to a lot of Joe Rogan stuff.
I can listen to his stuff without like having to buy into everything he thinks. But what I appreciate is that he's very curious and isn't afraid to talk about certain things. So it's always curious to, like, he talks a lot about vaccines and those kind of things. And I'm interested to hear, because he was somebody who was very left. He would say this, is that he was very left. And then when he was almost forced to do the shot, and then his shot got recalled. He was about to do the shot, and his shot got recalled, and then that's where a bunch of stuff came out, and it was just wild. So,
and that's kind of similar with Sean Ryan's podcast. Like he's not afraid to have conversations with people that think different. But what I appreciated is he's bringing a lot of things to the public circle that probably otherwise people would have really loved to keep quiet.
Yeah.
And you know, like the example was the whole Bitcoin thing. Government during the Biden administration really did everything they could to kind of shut it down. And hear me, I have no stance on Bitcoin.
Right.
Like I don't know enough about it to be for it or against it.
No.
But at the same time, like just the inner workings of politics and those types of things that I'm like, that really happened. And like, it's mind blowing some of the things that they talk about on that show. But yeah.
The government hates
probably.
it. You should support it for sure.
Well, I don't know enough about Bitcoin either, but I know it's not like backed or ran by the government yet.
And that's by design.
Right.
Like that's the whole right.
Until they do.
And I think that's why government's been so staunchly in opposition to it, is because it's simply
can't control it.
They're not advocating one way or the other whether it's good or bad. They're just saying we can't control it, and they're terrified of that.
Yes. Which some of the terrifying is fairness, because somebody will be bad with it, obviously.
Yeah. And they talk about that in podcasts too.
They do?
They talk about some of the things that they're going to have to do and update when these quantum computers come online and that kind of stuff. So all stuff that I would have never talked about, thought about. It's just
or thought that we would talk about today.
Brought up in another podcast. Yeah, for sure. So
man, I'm trying to think like if I could trade places with somebody for a job. I don't know, man. I love cooking. I do think it would be fun to. It would be fun to, I think, front of house a restaurant.
Are you a recipe cooker or are you an experimenter?
Because I have some experience, I like following recipe, because people are like, I don't know how to cook. And I'm like, follow the recipe. It's going to get you there for the most part.
Yeah.
But like, I like watching video, like Matty Matheson's one of my favorite dudes to watch. He's from The Bear. If you've ever watched that show on Hulu, love that show. So you have watched The Bear?
I haven't watched a ton, but I've watched some of it.
Fack, the big fat, like goofy Neil Fack, is actually like a world-renowned chef.
Really?
Like he's a side character in the show, world-renowned chef. And if you just YouTube him, has the funniest language, but funniest videos on cooking. So I'm more of a because I had some experience cooking at Nimitz a little bit, and I like trying things. I do it a little bit off the cuff.
Yeah.
But I'm big on recipe too. But I think I think if I had a dream job that wasn't doing, I love everything that I do right now. But if I had a dream job, I think, and money didn't matter, I would open a restaurant. And I want to figure out a way to like not be like staunchly like how these reservation only places get, but like if I could have each individual guest have their own dining room.
Yeah.
And you would have to like fill out a questionnaire before you came, at least a day, and then we would build like the meal around
that'd be cool.
around like what you were feeling,
what's your flavor
the
palette?
occasion. Because we read the book Unreasonable Hospitality, which the guy who wrote that that's who produced The Bear is Will Guidera.
Okay.
I got to see him speak last year, and so like if I could create, I don't know, I think food is one of those ways you love on people in the same way like doing this podcast is how I'm trying to love on people, just like creating a cool experience. Yeah. And I think that's what I would do is find a way that like I could at least have a questionnaire filled out to know like what you like, don't like, what you're in the mood for, factor in all those things. I love that kind of stuff. You'd have to charge out the wazoo to make any money.
You're a creative person too.
I'll get there some point.
It gives you a canvas to do something creative.
I haven't hit my midlife crisis yet, so when I do, then maybe I'll do that. I don't know. There's a restaurant for sale here in town. I can do that, but
I still think a breakfast place would blow up in this town.
Well, you've been out to Karen's, right? Corner Post.
I usually get out there during deer season.
Yeah. Dude, she's year round, man. And this morning was a croissant sandwich, one of the best croissant sandwiches I ever have. I
should get out there more. I really should.
Best burger you'll ever have.
I live on the other side of the county pretty much. So
I intentionally take that way a lot so I can get a burger or something like that. In fact, I don't have time, but I was like, I'm not going to get a burger now. Yeah. But anyway, we should wrap up. This has been the longest podcast we've ever done, but this is how you and I talk.
I don't know if I should say thank you or like I apologize for it being so long. It's been a lot of fun.
You can say thank you. That's fine.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been
good.
Yeah. I can edit it down a little bit.
Well, if we need to, yeah. But for sure, come out and support your Fayette athletics. Just period. It's always good for young kids to at least see that, whether they believe in the future, that at least their parents and their community does too.
Yeah, it means a lot to the kids when they see people who take time out of their schedule to come and cheer them on.
What do you think would get more people there? Like, especially like around football, tailgating. I don't know how much tailgate's going on, but I don't know.
They still tailgate before football games every Friday night.
I mean, there's no DQ, or I really wish if I had all the money, I would buy DQ or McDonald's there. You could do a really hopping joint right there before the football games too.
But absolutely. I think, I think it's important for people to come out and support kids who are part of this community just to kind of show their support. But, as far as what I feel like things, obviously winning is always contagious. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to come when teams are winning. But I think the part of sports that a lot of people miss out on is the beautiful process of going from broken to not broken, or from, you're building a program. So from day one, what I'll be most excited about is the people who were super consistent and supported us last year when we struggled in year one. And when we get this thing turned around, and it's a lot more exciting to come and watch those games, the ones who have been there from day one will be the ones that, man, I'll be going up to and being like, man, thanks for being patient with us. Thanks for sticking us out. And it means a lot. It means more to the players than what I think maybe even community members realize, to see people who don't have the same last name, or they're in the same family tree, but just that it was important enough to them to take part of their evening to come out and be part of the process. It's a big deal to kids.
Well, and I think that there's a lot of people hopefully listening to this and in our community that care a lot about kids that are underserved or unseen. And I tell you what, you can go out to a football game and cheer one of them on when they touch the field or do anything like that. That I know would be game changing for some of them to hear more than just maybe one of their parents who isn't even there cheering, just getting to hear lots of voices cheer for you.
It may sound cliche, but that's real in every community. Yeah. And the only time that some of these kids get encouraged is when they're in that environment, when they're part of a team. And so when you have the opportunity to show up to a game and to support those kids, you're probably impacting a kid in a way that you're probably not even aware of.
Yep.
So
show up.
Yeah, there you go.
Show up in life, show up today. The world is better with you in it, Brandon. So thank you.
I appreciate that, man.
Love you, man.
Love you too. Thanks for having me today.
That's good. Cool. Outro music.
Yeah, our conversations always end up in a nosedive. Can't see it ending any differently this time around.